space. It is a community space, so if you want to get it out to your friends that aren't a part of the community, you will need to quote post it. Go down the bottom right-hand corner, click on the bubble, and then click on the arrows going around in a square and hit quote post. Put a smiley face. Just say hi. That's the best way to do it. Hey, Stacy. Stacy, are you there?
Yes, I was trying to share the post and I was not on the screen. I had a little panic there.
Oh, welcome. Welcome to the get called on when you're posting.
Yeah, it was great. I did find my way back. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear.
Tuesday, and I got my deadlines met, so, you know. What's up, network?
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? I'm pretty good. I'm excited for the space.
Should get interesting. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Stacy, do we have the results of the poll?
Yes, let me get them for you.
I mean, we're probably going to talk about everything that was in the poll.
Probably. Well, let's see what we come up with. Okay, just a second.
I did Trump's first 100 days.
That's a good one. Okay, there we go. Hold on. It is to consist. Hold on. That's not me. There we go.
Will you put it up in the nest? Can you teach how to do that?
Yeah.
All right. So what you do, you go to the post.
Okay, hold on. Let me go there. Wait.
And then the little share icon, the little half of a page and the arrow going up. Hit that, and then at the very top you'll see the name of the room.
Okay.
And that's how you do it.
Can I do it on my desktop?
I think so.
Okay, I've got them both here, so I'll work on that right now.
Okie dokie.
I could tell you that's
Come
what we
on,
chose
let
the
me try
title.
it. Go ahead.
We got the title up there, the Fascist Book Grift and the Trump First 100. It was a tie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we do get to talk about everything because we're going to.
Yeah. And then there's some exciting stuff from NASA that No Rose got, but I don't know if she can join us tonight. But it's some, the WOW stands for Weapons of War.
I was reading through that, just the topics that you posted, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I'd never even heard of a Psy War before this last week, and now I've heard that word several times. Psy War. Never heard of that.
The
you
topics
just lived through it.
Go ahead.
You just lived through it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like I'm constantly living through it. Had you ever heard of that word before, Stacy or Kelly? I know you have, Jen.
No, I have not.
I haven't either. And some of those other topics, if that was on the topic list, we go over later. But it looks like Matt has.
You've heard of Psy War before?
Only because it's the title of a book. I won't name the author.
Is it Hillary Clinton?
No, it's Dr. Robert Malone.
Oh, getting all these new terms coined. Well, before this space started, I was out watching videos on X, and my girl Denise Aguilar keeps popping up. She is making content all over the place, and I'm loving it. They did something yesterday where they went down to the state legislature in California because their session started. I guess they have a permanent legislature, which that's probably what's really fucked up with California. Anyways, they invited.
Wait, don't all states have a permanent legislator?
No. Well, they're not in session permanent, like year round.
Oh.
Like ours goes into session in March. And I'm thinking about going. our local Republican Executive Committee is organizing buses to go up there. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of bus rides, but you know.
I was about to say, like, every time like I hear stuff and like I'm like, oh my God, like who would actually do that? And then there's Kim. Oh, bus tour, let's go. Let's take a bus to Tallahassee.
I mean, I am totally politically nerdy now. I am discovered my true self. And it's a political nerd now. I didn't even know what was going on with Skip Bayless. I had to ask somebody today.
With who?
Exactly. He's a sportscaster that I guess one of the hair and makeup people that works on him brought forth allegations of sexual misconduct. He essentially paid her or offered to pay her $1.5 million for some fun time, I guess. I don't know. Hot topic.
Just to let you know, we are streaming tonight on QUX and Rumble and Pilled and Kick and YouTube. And that's it.
I mean, that pretty much covers them all. Is there any streaming service that's popular that we're not streaming to?
Oh, I guess we could say Facebook, FascistBook. You know, I'm sure it's safe to stream now, although I couldn't get into my account for 2 days.
What, on Facebook?
Yep.
I wonder when the pressure test is going to come.
Any day now. I don't know. I'm guessing the 20th.
So I didn't see Mark Zuckerberg. Did he like come out and say something, or did he like email somebody? Like, what did he just come out with a statement?
Jail.
Oh, please put him in jail.
Yeah, he's not they took away the fact checking.
Oh, and he admitted what they did was wrong, right? Did he say something about maybe we shouldn't be influencing elections and that we shouldn't be wrecking people's lives because they say something different than what we agree with?
Maybe
so
we shouldn't
grifting.
violate the Constitution
He's
by allowing. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't violate the Constitution by allowing government to intervene in First Amendment speech on your platform. That's the issue. He broke the law, and he's got to serve some time, in my opinion.
Oh, I am down for that. So Kelly, did he actually come out on TV? Like, is there audio of it?
I sent an article. It was earlier today. I don't have it. And if there is an audio, if somebody could look for it.
I'll go get it.
Awesome. There he goes. Thanks, Michael.
He's the best.
He's quick to draw right there. He already had it on hand, Michael. That's the man.
I thought I was fast. He just blew me away. I'm no good anymore. I'm old. Put me out to pasture. Michael the youngin has beat me.
He's there to make you look good.
No.
He's there to make you look good, Kelly.
No. She's running all these streams by herself. She's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't even try that, lady. You don't get to step into Chris Philby guilt time, okay?
See, he's wearing off on me. Where is he? Is he doing taxes?
He's at his sister's for her birthday dinner. He'll be joining us later.
Yes, is.
I know.
Kim, just so you know, I got a bounce here at the top of the hour. So
yes, you've got Trafficking Tuesday, correct?
well, yeah, I do, but I mean, I don't have to go, but yeah, I am going to support my friend. But yes.
Well, we will definitely, send people over there when this space is over, and let them know about it as well. I see our friend Jennifer McWilliams down there. I'm so excited about their new announcement, guys. Courage is a Habit. It's going to be switching it up and doing some new stuff. So Alvin put out a tweet yesterday, I believe it was, talking about Courage After Dark. I think that is so cool. Hopefully she'll come up here and talk to us about it in a little bit.
I'm excited about that too. I put the link to the video for Mark Zuckerberg in the nest.
Adam, can you play that?
Jason's been putting out a lot of stuff. How's everybody, by the way?
Hey, Walter.
How are you folks? Yeah, Jason Fick has been putting out a lot of stuff today on that. We should invite him in here to see if he can give us a quick spiel on what his thoughts are.
Ooh, good idea.
Wait, hold on. Isn't Jason in California?
I don't know. What's going on there?
Are you guys watching what's happening in LA right now? Like
it's on fire.
Actually, like no, yeah. It's really, really bad, right? They can't get the fire department out. People that were evacuating out of the Palisades have now left their cars in the middle of the road, and they're having to go up with bulldozers to push the cars out of the middle of the road so they can try to get up there to try to get to these people who are trapped in their homes. And this is like a wall of fire. And the thing is they had Santa Ana winds warning. So they already had literal devastating wind warning. They issued it last night. So you have probably 80 to 100 mile an hour winds, and you have a line of fire that's going across the Las Vegas Valley right now that no one can stop, being fueled by 100 mile an hour winds coming out of off the Santa Ana. So like I'm really actually worried. Like, where's Doc? Where's Anastasia? Where's all these people who live in that area? Like, we need to check on them, because like this, guys, this is like Sunset Boulevard in downtown LA in West Hollywood was on fire, guys. Like, this is like absolutely insane.
I'm gonna have to go look at the footage.
We need to put an APB out on them.
No, like it is. I can't even describe to you. This is a apocalyptic situation for LA right now.
I used to live there. I understand that. I've been through, I can't count how many fires I've been through. And this is, in my opinion, this fire is going to set new standards on what we can expect in an event. We've had all kinds of events happening, and it's time that we be prepared for these events. You know, we don't rise to the event. We rise to our preparedness, how prepared we are. That's the only way we're going to survive events like this fire. I know what it's like in LA during a fire. I'm so glad I'm in Texas. But it's going to happen. But this is just another sign of the times. I hope you that are Christian see that.
100%. And I mean, if you're in law enforcement and can tell me what this means, like, come up on stage, because Avi, not a cop. The city of Los Angeles is on tactical alert due to a major incident. I'm guessing the major incident is the fire.
Yes.
However, I do not know that for 100% positive, but what does tactical, what is it?
Tactical alert is
tactical
alert.
Yeah,
it's summoning all first responders. They are being summoned to the table. They're on alert. Everybody that is of any first alert basis, they are calling them out. I'm watching it live on TV. I'm watching Pacific Palisades as we speak on Fox, and they're forcing evacuations again in Pacific Palisades. That
right, and they're forcing everybody onto the 101, right? They're telling everybody, get out of the mountains.
Yeah, it's not 101
get down
down
towards
there, honey.
the water.
That's Sunset Boulevard. and then it goes down to Highway 1 at the beach. And they're showing it live. And the homes are burning.
Well, James Woods. So James Woods, who's out here on X, you guys probably like follow his account. His
Yes.
house literally just like went up, and he was live streaming as the flames were coming
my
down
God.
the mountain right at him. Like,
Yep. I'm watching the big tankers drop water. I think they're dropping water because no, that's orange. Okay, it's the
well,
retardant.
Stone, can you explain for the room, right? Because obviously, like, I'm not a native Californian, right?
Go ahead.
So, can you explain like what the Santa Ana winds are and like why they're so dangerous?
Yeah, they're deadly. They're absolutely deadly. It's when hot air and cold air hit, and they just rage, and they come from the south toward the north. They're the Santa Anas. That's why they call them that, because they're south of the city, and they just rage right through central Los Angeles, all the way up the beach, and all the way up into San Luis Obispo. I mean, it goes all the way up the coast. You notice we had the fires in Santa Barbara, and those were also Santa Ana winds. They're deadly.
But I feel like this is something that they covered on like maybe like the Weather Channel or like one of those where they were like, oh, apocalyptic situations that could happen, right? And it was like if the winds, like they had the Santa Ana winds warning, and it like literally last night it came across the screen that it was like devastating wind warning, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. Them put devastating wind other than a hurricane, but like. Right. You have the Santa Ana winds, you have this fire that it was at 200 acres, maybe at like 12 noon California time. It's what are they saying right now, Stone, on the
they didn't say. I didn't have that on the screen. I'm not listening to the audio, but they come up when they come up fast. And as I say, they're deadly winds. Everybody's on alert down there. And look, would you know what to do if your home was in the line of the fire other than just run? There's some things that you can.
Thank God I'm in Florida, so I don't got to worry about that. But
well, they have different in Florida, but similar in catastrophe, and when they just lived through it. People don't know what to do, and panic will lead to death. And there are books out there. I'm going to give the listeners right now a book that they should get. It's called Prepared by Mike Glover. It will absolutely give you, if you do what the book says and learn it, it will give you some confidence in an event and be able to thrive through the event because you're prepared. And that's called Preparedness by Mike Glover. Pass it on. Get your friends, everybody you know. The book covers everything from domestic terrorism to Mother Nature's events.
Can you say that name of the author again?
Mike Glover. Glover.
Glover. Okay.
Glover.
Glover. Okay, I got it.
Yes, and I'm very involved in preparedness training as well, and we're forming a bunch of professionals to go around and give seminars on the problem and the solution. We all know the problem. It's been around us for years. Now it's coming to surface. I think domestic terrorism is one of the greatest challenges Americans face because we've been breastfed on complacency. We haven't got a zip of an idea on what to do in most cases. The schools finally are starting to come to task, but they're still not adequately prepared. The students aren't adequately prepared, nor are the kids educated on what to look for. Mommy, if you train a kid, now we've got new eyes on old challenges. Mommy, why did that guy put that package down and walk away? They're in the park. Mommy, what's that guy over there? It looks like he's got a gun. Mommy, do you see that smoke over there in that house? Mommy, train the kids. Give them some confidence. Make them your partners. And the book that I just gave you will assist you and also give you the stimulus to look for other books and podcasts that will give you that preparedness training. I want to start a space and talk about it live online and have listeners call in.
So Stone
Yes.
appreciate the recommendations. But I know Kim has like stuff she wants to get to, so I don't want to divert too far.
Okay, well, don't go too far from the message. Be prepared.
Of course, it's a message we always talk about, right, Kim?
Absolutely. And that gets me to, I did put up a post a little bit ago, and I'll put it in here in a bit. But Denise Aguilar is doing all kinds of cool stuff like that. Stone, are you on a beeping machine? Are you in a hospital? What's going on with you? Okay, so but anyways, Denise Aguilar, she has a group, and they're called mamalitia.org, and it's pretty neat. I was listening to her talk about how they get together and they learn how to can and preserve food, and several moms in her group do tinctures.
These are great survival.
Okay, Stone, what are you doing? Okay, like there's a mute button. Kim's talking. What are you doing? Come on, please.
There's tinctures that they make, and some of them have like medical experience, and so they will go with each other to, if they have issues or emergencies, they go with each other and be advocates for each other. It's pretty cool. All kinds of stuff that they're doing in California, but their membership is coming open in February. So I'll put that information down in the bubble here in a bit. Oh, we got a nice little stage here. Mr. Philby, are you in the car already on your way home?
Yes, I have done my brotherly duties. Met with my two sisters and a couple of my cousins. One, my 96-year-old cousin, or soon to be 96. We're 30 years apart, and had a nice dinner. And now I'm on my way to deliver payroll, and I'm on a space with you.
So you didn't tell me that you didn't tell me that there was actual fires. You just told me that there was like disastrous winds in California. So
I told you that we talked about the fire. James Wood's house was on fire. I told you that.
Okay. And moving cars, right?
Yeah, Steve Gutenberg was telling people to leave their keys in their car, not to take them with him, so he could move their cars so that the fire trucks could get,
That's right. I remember now.
They're gone because
Jen said that they were using bullseyes.
They were leaving their cars in the middle of the road so nobody could get by. It was like people were leaving their cars in the middle of the Beltway during a snowstorm. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like these people yesterday that drove their car into a snowbank on the exit for the hospital. I mean, these people are nuts. They got no consideration for anybody. I mean, I understand it's a panic situation, and people don't think, but you gotta think like for 5 seconds that, there are other people that live on the mountain behind you and they need to get out too.
Well, they're going through with bulldozers now, Chris.
Well, yeah, now, yeah. But this was like 3 hours ago.
Well, no, so all the people abandoned their cars on the roads and they can't get the fire trucks up in the mountains to like put the fires out or rescue people, and all the roads are blocked.
Yeah.
So now they're bringing in those big ass bulldozers with the bucket fronts and just plowing cars out of the way.
Yeah, and they should. That's what they should do. And if they got $100,000 Maserati and it ends up in a ditch upside down, good for them.
So what you're saying is you need to be thinking of other people too when you're trying to escape for your life. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
I agree with you. Hey, Jennifer.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for having me up. I don't want to derail, so I was going to kind of address the
No, go ahead.
Zuckerberg
Go ahead.
Zuck thing. Okay. All right.
First of all, what's this new thing you got going on?
Courage After Dark.
Yeah. So we've been doing on Thursdays at 3 Eastern, doing our It Takes One Person, but we've ran a couple kind of trial things, and we have decided we're still going to have our It Takes One Person on this Thursday, and then we will be kind of transitioning to doing Courage After Dark, and doing it late nights. A lot of times it'll be on Sundays, but it will be kind of random just because our travel schedule is so crazy. Sometimes we can't keep up with it. And so I'm pretty excited about it. We're kind of rebranding what we're doing. For 2025.
Jennifer McWilliams deserves to be After Dark. I mean, I can't even wait to see how freaking triggered you are. It's going to be great.
That's what I told Alvin. I was like, listen, I think this is more our brand because we need to be unleashed. And I am ready to go. 2025, there is nothing holding this back. I have been working on this type of stuff for 5 years. I am ready to go. So we're going to say what we need to say, and we're going to push on. So that's what we're going to be doing. Yeah, thanks, Kim. So on the Zuckerberg Zuckcuck situation, whatever. Okay. And I don't know if someone was going to play the video or whatever. It doesn't matter to me, but basically just for anybody that doesn't know, he came out and basically said that he's sorry, of course, for his fact checking on Facebook, and he admits that his fact checkers that he was using are politically biased. Yeah, no shit. And
I do have the video queued up whenever you guys want.
Okay, that it's hurting his business. I don't know if you want to do that. That might be good if you were going to play it anyways,
Jennifer.
and then if I could just add
Yeah. Why don't we'll play it real quick, and then you can throw in your juice.
Retweet the
Cool,
space.
thank you so much.
Yes, retweet the space, please, guys. Give it a good old quote tweet.
Bookmark it, like it, send it, let other people see it, invite people. Let's make it happen. All right, I'm going to play the video now.
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards one.
Yeah, that's it. No forgiveness for that.
What do you... That was so just squish. Yeah.
Can I
go
jump
for
in
it.
now? Okay, cool. Yeah, I listen, I totally understand the feelings towards that. I do not trust him at all, okay? So, but I do want to say I don't trust him, and I barely even engage on Facebook. I had to get it for a reason, and sometimes I post on there, but literally like super generic. I don't even engage on there. But what I do want to say is that what he is saying about the fact checking, which we all know is true. I don't know what his motivations are, like, and I don't trust whatever the fuck they are, honestly. But what he is saying, it is true, and he has a database, of course, like like Elon does. I mean, he's feeding off of all of that data gathering and the backlash that everything has been getting. And so, what I wanted to say, as far as what he said specifically about the fact checking, the fact checkers that he uses being politically biased, hurting his business. He's going to start using something similar to community notes, like what's happening on X. I just want people to understand, before you completely ignore what he's saying, we can at least use that statement, that truth that he actually said. Again, I don't know what his motivations are.
Staying out of
really
jail.
Care.
That's what his
But,
motivation is.
Well, sure. But for someone that he should absolutely be charged and go to jail. I totally agree. But what I'm saying is that he's coming out and admitting this, and they are in such disarray right now that they are having emergency meetings. They don't even know if they can uphold their fact-checking system, is what's being reported. And so I will connect it very quickly here, but one of the things that we at Courage is a Habit are trying to do seriously is to try to get people to understand all across this country is that media literacy is infiltrating the K through 12 system, and media literacy is literally the mainstream media going into the K through 12 system and teaching children how to find credible sources. And that means, and what they teach, I have all the training videos I've sent through, more than I even want to admit, is that what they tell them is, if you go to Google and you're not sure if something's true, type it in Google, see what they say, and then go to mainstream media sources to figure out if it's true or not. And then also use the fact-checking network to identify what is credible and what is not. And that is something that we are fighting heavily, for obvious reasons. I'm sure everyone in here understands that. That's why we're on X, and that's why there's so many independent journalists doing amazing work. That's why all of you posting things and researching, I mean, that's where it's at. But so I did a little bit of research today, and I wanted to know exactly who Meta or Zuckerberg was using for their fact checkers. And they are using the International Fact Checking Network, which is the same exact network that they are using for media literacy to teach your children how to find credible sources. So I put an article that explains more of this down in the purple pill that we put out. We're really going to continue pushing on this because it's so dangerous. They're literally teaching children in K through 12 that is how you find credible sources, and anyone else that is not within that network of fact checkers and mainstream media, then that is not a credible source. And so we're going to use what he came out and said, and we're going to use it to fight media literacy and other things.
Well,
so that was just
well,
kind
this
of my
is
point on this.
This is so important because
yeah.
I have run into this, and Jen can tell you, because I've called her and been like, in a panic, like what do I do? Because I'm having a discussion or a heated discussion about things that we have all discussed on here, right? And I'm basically relaying it to someone in my personal life, and I know what I'm saying is right, but when I provide the sources, they don't like value those sources, right? So they say, oh, that's a right wing this, that's a conservative, blah 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 blah, and then all of their sources, which are left leaning, okay, they're all instantly credible. So I have nothing to source and they have everything to source. So you're like, you're in a losing battle there. No matter if, what you're saying is true or not, and you're bringing receipts. So this is a really big problem if they're teaching our children to, not use these other outlets.
Exactly. And so that's kind of my point here is like, I have no idea what his motivations are. Again, Adam's probably correct, stay out of jail, whatever. But the fact that he came out and said that, we will use that specific statement. You will watch us use it for the whole year, because if so, Kim, in your, instance, if people say, well, those aren't credible sources, literally you can say, well, here, look, he's telling you that this is biased. He's literally built his whole thing on Facebook, Meta, whatever, on this, and he's coming out and he's switching it. I mean, so we just have to start taking some of these small wins. Again, I can't stand him. Go to jail. Don't give a shit. But he came out for whatever motivation and admitted what we're all trying to get people to say. And so we will be using it. And the International Fact Checking Network, I mean, it's massive. We're going to be coming out with, we have a lot of stuff, but that on this, but coming out with a lot of those. It's all mainstream media. It's PolitiFact. It's I can't even think of some of the other ones. But right on the top of my head. But anyways, it's all biased, but it's the sources that what you're talking about that they're going to say, well, if it doesn't come from here, then it's not true. And that is the biggest problem. But when you're teaching children, they have no context. They have no idea. And so fighting this is such a huge deal. And I just wanted to kind of bring that forward. And just for anybody that's listening, this media literacy has already been mandated as state law in Texas, New Jersey, Delaware, and California. It's coming for every single state. And so every single state, if they get it done, will be under this credible sources only from these fact checker sources. So it's just a huge problem, but I just wanted to point that out. So, I love you guys and I appreciate it.
That in itself is censorship. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, they're getting them at that young age. And that's something that Jennifer and Alvin at Courage is a Habit, they're always stressing about. So guys, go check them out. It's courageisahabit.org, correct?
Yeah, yep, that's it.
Doing great stuff. They've got all kinds of toolkits that you can use for, as parents to help your children that are literally on the front line and we didn't even know it.
I just
if you go to Rumble
article up in the Jumbotron.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I was just saying I just posted or shared their X article in the Jumbotron.
Awesome. Did you have something else you wanted to say? Because I know your hand was up.
Oh, it's just I also did. I'll put it up later, but I found this really cool site, is California Fire Tracker site, and also found like 3 different resources for people in the fires that could be helpful, and I put that in the purple pill.
Oh, that's great. Guys, go down to the purple pill and make sure you share that out so that we can get that information out there. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to Matt, and then we'll go to Chris, and then Mike, and then Walter.
Is Jennifer McWilliams still up here?
Yes.
Jennifer, tip of the cap to you guys. I love what y'all do. I guess let me ask you this though. What's the if parents run into this sort of situation because clearly the kids aren't taught to critically think, they're being indoctrinated into a certain mindset, a certain way of thinking, but it seems to me that the thing to do in turn is to indoctrinate them in another way, in a different direction. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, so one of the things that we tell parents is that you have to influence your children first, if that's what you mean. Like literally on issues that even issues that there's so much sexuality and obscene materials in schools now. It sucks. I get it. But your children, you have to make the first impressions. So, but even if it's not just on the sexuality stuff, you've got to get to them first and make that first impression on them. So I totally agree, because if you don't do it first, the schools will do it for you. Whether it's credible sources or what, sexuality, gender is fluid, you can be born in the wrong body, bullshit. But if you don't do it, if you don't reach your children first and build that foundation, the schools will do it for you. That is what their purpose is today.
So my tactic was,
They've been
I've got a
used
teenager, and it's like, I mean, when I found out about what was going on in his school, I basically flipped it around on them and made it like super weird and uncool what they were doing. And him and his friends essentially, they just ran with that. And so they make fun of any kind of surveys that come out. They'll, snicker about it, and, because they're really inappropriate surveys. So that's one thing you can do, is try to flip the narrative and, kind of, they don't like for, you to, I guess, parents to kind of be cool or whatever. So it's like you have to kind of do reverse psychology on them.
Kim, I totally agree with you. So, right, it depends on the age, of course. So if you're talking to a teenager, lecturing them is not going to work, but kind of talking their language will definitely help, right? And I totally agree with that approach. And I do it with my daughter all the time. She's younger, but we'll be driving down the road and there's a billboard with some dude in a dress and a beard, and I'm like, how ridiculous is that? And we just have a short conversation, and it is our duty as parents to build those first impressions and foundation. And I totally agree with that approach. Obviously age appropriate, but you gotta start early.
No, you really do. It's really important that you keep those lines of communication open. It's a delicate balance between friends and parents, right? But I think that especially as they get older and they're experiencing these things, it's important that when you see something that's not a societal norm, that is an attack vector, that you call it out and call it out for what it is. I mean, it's weird. It's, they obviously have a mental illness, and I hope that they get help. That's usually what I do.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more thing here. So just for everyone to understand, and I'm sure most of you do, but the schools have a whole new agenda. They are no longer focused at all on academics. They literally believe that their job is to create social justice advocates and to transition our social norms. And that's what we're fighting against. That's what everyone in here, most people in here at least, I don't know, it's probably some trolls, but are fighting against right now. The school system, the education system is set up to transition and shift your child's attitudes, values, and beliefs towards this way of thinking. And that is why it is so imperative that you reach them first.
So reward rebels. Go, Chris, and then we'll go to Mike.
Absolutely.
Oh, Matt, were you done?
I just wanted to say, and we both talked at the same time, so my fault. But Satan's youth ministry for decades in this country has been the schools, and clearly Jennifer and Courage as a Habit clearly recognize that. And yeah, y'all keep up the good work, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, Mr. Philby.
I believe that no quarter is next.
All right, Walter.
Well, thanks, Chris. I'll be real quick. I just wanted to point out, well, of course, thank you, Jennifer, for all the work you're doing out there. It doesn't go unnoticed, just so you know. We're always looking at it. Somebody's in there fighting for the kids, and that, that cannot be. We've allowed them to be neglected for some time, and we're paying the cost for it now. And we have soldiers like you and Alan out there, and we appreciate you. just real quick, I wanted to say that. And then I want to get back to the whole Zuckerberg thing. We should be under not even the slightest bit of illusion that this guy committed crimes knowingly against the citizens of this country, and he needs to pay a price. Now, while you're doing what you're doing, Jennifer, and what everybody else is doing, Jason Fick, pointing out those things that he is actually guilty of, and holding them accountable to those things. I feel like as well we should be testing what he's saying right now as far as lifting all these bans on our free speech on that platform. And one of the things that I decided early on when they were making it tough for us to use that platform is that I'm going to be a nuisance to them. And I'm going to continue to put whatever I can get out there, and I'm going to keep them as busy as they kept us with trying to keep our accounts. So I'm just looking at a couple different angles to approach this opportunity. I'll call it an opportunity. And Dustin was talking about it earlier. He's right that we can be given an illusion that there's been some changes, but the change is going to be how we use it at this point and how we take advantage of it at this point. That's going to be the ultimate change. I mean, regardless of what he decides, and we're going to test everything that he's saying, and we're going to push everything that we wanted to before on this thing. And we're at the same time, simultaneously, we need to make sure that he pays for what he's done to this country. And he's done a lot. So anyway, thanks for the mic.
Thanks, Walter. All right, well, you want to go to Mike and then we'll go to Chris? Mike and Mac.
Yeah, that works. I was having trouble getting off mic or off mute. I just wanted to give some more love to Jennifer and Courage while she's up here. What's awesome about their show, It Takes One Person, is that unlike other podcasts that are usually like current news, like every episode of theirs is timeless and informational. So you can go back to the very beginning of their show, and every episode's like so informative. So if anyone's ever missed any of their shows, you can find them easily, probably on their page as well. But American Mission also broadcast it. So if you went to rumble.com and found American Mission's page, there's a whole playlist of all 32 episodes of their show. And I would recommend everyone to go and watch. And I also want to just say, like, we're normally shilling for American Mission, but Courage as a Habit has an awesome store with some cool shirts and hats and stuff. So if anyone wants to wear some of their stuff or show them some love that way, I just wanted to point that out too.
Embrace exclusion. I love that.
Yes, thank you so much. That's so nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. And your outro on your show is fire. I just want to say that.
Thank you. I didn't do that, but thank you so much. I will pass it on.
All right, Mr. Philby.
Well, good. Now I got my signal back. That worked out just fine. And thank you, Jennifer, as always. I think people need to go back, watch your last episode, and see your little speech, which is, I think, is every bit as valid today as it was the first time you gave it. Maybe even more so. I think that Zuckerberg's comments need to be on some T-shirts. I think that people need to wear those, whether they're on ours or yours. I think that his comments need to be at the ready to play at a moment's notice. And I think that one thing that is particularly important, you know, for everybody to remember is that over the last number of years, whether it was during this administration that's about to end or the administration that was prior to the first Trump administration, is that we were introduced to terms like settled science. Settled science was a term that we were introduced to, and we were battered with these single source ideals, and you know, when your fact check comes all from one place, you know, we're not living in the 1800s anymore, and everybody's got to go to Compton's because they're the only ones that are publishing an encyclopedia. Okay, or maybe you got two choices because Britannica is also, you know, also going to publish an encyclopedia, and maybe you can go to a library because, you know, you can't afford to buy a set. You know, information is fluid and it's available in a lot of places, and there's no single source for people to be able to get credible information. And if anybody ever tells you or makes a statement that says science is settled, you know, you either need to end that conversation or be prepared to tell them to their face that they are a liar or a fool or both, because there is no such thing as settled science. Science is an ongoing process that never ends. And no scientist worth their salt will tell you otherwise, because every day things can either change or improve or get worse, depending on a particular set of circumstances or facts, whether that's in medicine or whatever. It doesn't matter. The weather changes every day, you know. You know, your luck is going to change every day, and that's not going to be consistent based on the flip of a coin. These people who are going to guide you to a single source of information, a single fact check source, are leading you down a path to hell. Your children, your family, your friends have to be able to use discernment, to have to be able to critically think, to have to be able to learn to allow the light bulb to go off on their own, so that it becomes evident to them that something doesn't make sense here. And it's not that difficult. It really isn't. You know, when there's an attack on an embassy on September the 11th, and you're told it's not a terrorist attack, you can pretty much bet it's a terrorist attack. And then 2 weeks later, you're told.
Wait, no, Chris. Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton told me that it was because of a video about gay Muhammad.
Well, okay. And have you seen the video yet?
By the way, I'm joking.
No, but I'm serious. Nobody ever saw the damn video.
No, I did see, there was the video, but it was really bad. It was like one of those like early 2000s, like I used MS freaking like Paint to make this video, right? It was terrible, right? But they left out the fact that there was the CIA annex a mile from our embassy where we were running guns from Libya into Syria to arm the rebels. That's why they died, because they couldn't call up the CIA annex, because guess what? That CIA annex did not exist.
Yeah. But John McCain knew it was there.
He took pictures with all sorts of people, like Ukrainian Nazis, ISIS. Who else?
Yeah, but the point is, Jennifer is exactly right. Your kids need to hear it from you. You know, your family and your friends need to hear it from you that single sources are not your friend. You know, have a little bit of curiosity. You know, don't depend on, you know, you will figure out quickly that you're going to look stupid if you depend on a single source, because it will inevitably be a lie in the end. So that's all I got to say. Courage is a Habit does a wonderful job. We are extremely thrilled to have an affiliation, and we look forward for that to continue for a long time. But yeah, Jen, I think that maybe we should have a space on that video one day.
Well, and like, let's not forget that lie, right, ultimately cost those Charlie Hebdo people their lives, right? Because somebody walked into the Charlie Hebdo office and freaking blew them all away because they published a story about the anti-Mohammed video or something ridiculous like that, right? But they also leave out the fact that the ambassador, right, he had a little boyfriend, apparently. All alleged.
Christopher Stevens.
Yep. Right, which is ultimately how they gained and knew where to gain access into the embassy when they overran it. Allegedly.
In Minecraft.
Nah, in where is it? Ben got Libya. In Libya.
Okay.
Oh, I guess Kim's eating and I'm supposed to be taking over. Whoopsie. All right. How is everybody? Good to see everybody. Jeff, you just joined us. And Dr. Angela, I see you down there. I hope you're safe. Just hope you're safe. Jennifer, are you leaving us? Or are you just waving?
Oh, no, if you need a spot, I can.
Oh,
I can
no,
drop
no,
down.
you're
I'm gonna hang
fine.
out
I
for
don't
a
need a
little while,
spot. I was going to tell
Okay.
Jeff to jump in here since he jumped up on stage. Go ahead. And if you'd like to come up on
Gotcha.
stage, come up, just press mic.
How's everybody doing on the mission? It's good to see you guys this evening. So the topic of
Good,
discussion between. You hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was just answering your question.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm tired.
Oh no, Jeff, you're fine. It was my fault. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. I just didn't hear what you said. I apologize. So I was talking to my nephew last month, and I had talked to the Canadian podcast, and they wanted Justin Trudeau to resign. And I said, and we were discussing the Keystone Pipeline, because I used to live in Houston for many, many, many decades. And they were agreeing that they wanted to get it hooked up as fast as possible to help us gain some energy independence from Saudi Arabia and others. And we predicted that he would resign December 6th. And we had discussed it beforehand, but it was nice to see. But then my helper came back from, I think he was in Manitoba. His mom lives up there. His dad's down here where I'm at. And 20% of Canada is Middle Eastern now. And we were discussing Canada becoming a 5, 6 states, 7 states, all the provinces becoming part of the United States, along with Greenland and Denmark. And there's some discussions going around about all of that stuff, and definitely the topic of border security came up to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal drugs, to stop the illegal trafficking and slave trafficking or child trafficking, all of the above, to secure the border. And also we thought that it's a must that the Panama Canal be secure as well. I don't know if Dr. Angela knows, but I was told today that 95% of our antibiotics come from China. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty much
just
all of our
unacceptable.
heart medicine, all the heart medicine, all of the antibiotics, like pretty much anything that you might need, like like right now. Yeah, no, it's coming from China. So if they decide to turn it off, well, there's not really much we can do about it. Oh, and Jeff, you're bringing up Canada. So does everybody okay, so yesterday, Justin Trudeau, he resigned. He's out. No, he is not out. Okay. So the guy, the other guy, whoever, I don't know who this guy is, right? But he came up and he scheduled the vote to happen in, I believe, March or April. So from right now, from the time Justin Trudeau, quote unquote, resigned until March, Justin Trudeau is ruling by decree. He's still the president of Canada, apparently. If someone could clear this up for me, I would really appreciate it. Hi, Dr. Angela.
John, I don't think he's stepping down
No,
until
that's correct.
until you get a replacement.
Well, no, so it won't come until, I think it might even be April that they scheduled the vote, right? So Justin Trudeau is literally still the Prime Minister of Canada, ruling by decree, which means, that's just him being like, yo, I'm here, right? That's kind of scary, actually.
Hey, Jen, I'm working on a massive project calling out all of the people who voted against the Lake and Riley bill today.
Oh, please. Can we please have their names? I mean, I know the Democrats
yeah, I'm posting
did. I know the Democrats
train.
did, but
Yep.
I need the Republicans.
I'm looking.
Okay.
The most dastardly thing was Jamie Raskins when when they were bringing up that bill, he goes straight to J6 and like all this stuff. Like that has nothing to do with this, you know. Like this person is just sick, you know. He's twisted. Same with Lady Graham, you know. All these people.
Yeah, I couldn't see who was speaking. It's not showing me on my screen about the Lake and Riley bill, but I would love that information, whoever was talking, because I'm going to use that against all the people that are voting for the bullshit in education.
I'm just writing a massive thread calling each one of them out so anybody can tag and rank on their own legislators, but a couple people have put out the entire schedule. I'm looking right now at whose post is this?
Jennifer McWilliams, this is Angela speaking, by the way, just in case you were asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
no, that's what I
spaces
couldn't
are
see. Thank
screwy.
you. Yep, thank you. Awesome, Angela. Thank you.
All right.
I'm back.
Oh, good.
So wait, did they pass the bill or not pass the bill?
They passed it in the House again. I think there was 3 Republicans that didn't vote.
Buck, Murkowski, and the other, God, I can't remember now.
Oh, Lisa Murkowski, Ken Buck. Which Ken Buck's out. Wait, it can't be Ken Buck. Ken Buck's out. This is a new Congress.
Bacon's still in there.
Looking right now, the 5 House Republicans did not vote. It was D'Esposito, New York, Dunn, Florida, Granger, Texas, Loloda, New York, and Malatakis, New York.
Wait a minute. Granger's still in the Congress?
No, she's out.
So those are these.
Didn't she just win re-election?
No, she's out. She's done.
Oh, yeah, she retired. I thought.
Yeah,
Oh, isn't the new Congress sworn in on the 2nd?
on the 3rd. Yeah,
3rd. Okay, 3rd.
I think
they're not voting yet, or what?
out of those 5, I think there were 2, including Granger, that are no longer there.
I had to
So wait,
step
then
away.
how did
What
they
bill are
vote
we
if they're
talking
not there?
Oh, they didn't vote. She's saying. I think they were like a
They
non-vote.
She may have been looking.
No, but why are their names still coming up if this is a new Congress?
Well, they I guess they voted no the last time.
Well, what date was the vote on?
Today, just now.
Does anybody know? Okay.
Yeah, but I thought they were.
It
They
was just
thought they
today?
were
I thought it was
putting it to the Senate, not the House.
The House voted today. It goes to the Senate. In the last session, it went to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer never brought it up. So they passed it again in the House today.
Okay, so you said there were 3 that did not vote, which means
The list I'm looking at is the wrong freaking list. Hold on. There's 159.
It might have been the previous House vote
Old,
on it.
yes.
So that makes sense.
so we have 3 votes that we can give up with and still be able to pass a bill.
I had to step away. What bill are we talking about? I'm so sorry.
The Lake and Riley
Right.
bill.
And there was like 40 Democrats. I don't know the exact number. I'm looking now, but there was a bunch of Democrats that voted for it as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's 3 Republican votes that don't have to go in order to pass it on a party line vote.
So why are they having to pass it in the House again if it already passed in the House?
To bring it back to the Senate.
Because it failed in the last Congress. There's a new Congress. All the bills, all the legislation passed in the last Congress dies at the end of the Congress. And if they want to resend it to the Senate. It has to be passed again.
Chris, let me ask you a question. Now that we have a new Senate, is Thune going to be the one that would bring it forward rather than Schumer? Okay, so
Yes.
so we've got
John.
okay, good. That's good news.
So basically, Chuck Schumer made it so that the 118th Congress didn't do Jack Dookie.
Yeah, he's a scumbag.
Yeah, he controls. I mean, same thing when Mitch McConnell ran.
They should be fired for stuff like that.
It's the rules of the Senate. The Senate Majority Leader is a gatekeeper.
You got to fire them on their election day. That's how, unfortunately.
I mean, Chuck Schumer also, did not bring up the impeachment. Did not hold an impeachment trial for Mayorkas.
The House did.
They impeached him.
They impeached him.
Went to the Senate. Yeah.
They sent the articles of impeachment to the Senate, and the Senate.
He didn't even bring it. He didn't even let them vote on it.
It's the same thing with the Lake and Riley bill. It was brought forward, it passed the House, but Schumer never brought it to the floor.
Did the Senate pass any bills?
Oh, I'm sure some to line their pockets with, but yeah.
Well, let me put it to you like this. When Harry Reid was the Senate Majority Leader during the first term of Barack Obama had bulletproof majorities in the House and the Senate. Harry Reid prevented 444 bills that came out of the House from becoming law from his own party, because Harry Reid was a hateful piece of shit racist from Nevada.
All right, I was looking at the wrong list. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I can't hardly read this one. It's so tiny. Not voting. It's so little. It doesn't show whether they're Republicans or Democrats.
Okay. If you want to know, Dr. Angela, you can go to
maybe Grok
house.gov.
Brecken, Desjardins, Evans, Pennsylvania, Fields, Garcia, Texas, Brzalva, looks like Ruiz, Cheryl, Walls, and Wilson, Florida. That's it.
And it's usually pet projects and programs that they're protecting when they vote against bills like this that are in our natural minds tell us that there's everything right about voting for this legislation. So that would be my question. What programs, what special interests, and who is benefiting from those programs?
Well, yeah. What was in the bill? I mean, if it was a bill, it was a bill to, they named the bill after her, so it had to have something to do with what for people who are illegal aliens in the country. Is that what the bill was about?
I believe the bill is for to making sure that they hold a suspect instead of letting them go like they did the gentleman that killed Lake and Riley, sir.
Okay, so this was a ICE detainer bill. Is that what it was?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so whatever amendments got attached to that then is could have been the reason that these people didn't vote for it. So you have to take a look to see what got hung on to that, because there's no reason. I mean, these people would have had to have been Democrats, because there's no Republicans that would have voted against that. And if they didn't vote, they probably just weren't there.
Exactly. There was three that
That's
were
what I'm
Republicans,
seeing,
and
yeah.
one of them was Waltz, who's about to be in charge of the State Department.
Waltz is about to be the National Security Advisor.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but you know, the Democrats want sanctuary cities, so their reason to vote against it would be because they're in favor of sanctuary cities, and they're very famous for letting people go instead of enforcing or holding people for ICE detainers.
Yeah, it's not a very long bill, so they can't be against, per se, amendments. The bill is not long at all. Section 1, short title. Section 2, detention of certain aliens who commit theft. Section 3, enforcement by Attorney General of a state. And that's it.
This
So
was a
it's not a
simple
long
issue
bill.
There's no excuse.
Yeah. So when you hear from people like the governor of California and the governor of Minnesota, and you know, the governor of Michigan, and some of these other states who are speaking out in defiance of President Trump and his deportation orders, these are places where you're going to find members of Congress who are going to be voting against this kind of bill, because you're going to find sanctuary cities and in these states, and you're also, you know, like you're going to have sanctuary states, but you also may have red states. For instance, you have a red state, Missouri, where Kelly lives, and you've got a city there in St. Louis, which is a Democrat-controlled city, a stronghold, and you know, if that's a sanctuary city, whoever's representing that may want to vote against that. So, you know, those are people who would necessarily vote against this bill. But you know, you would probably have a lot of Democrats that would vote for it because, for instance, you've got a situation out in Colorado where you've got Venezuelan gangs that took over an apartment complex, and those folks are not very happy out there.
Right.
And so, you know, those Congress people are going to be pretty sensitive to the fact that their constituents don't like illegals in their congressional district, and they want ICE detainers to be honored at all costs.
It just seems like such a shoe-in to, like, you know, make the people happy, right? So, you know,
well, I mean, it varies by counties too. I mean, the county that I used to live in, Frederick, where I just left, we had a sheriff up there that detained people and held them for ICE detainers, you know, for as long as it took. I mean, he had his deputy sheriffs go take ICE training so that they were able to arrest people, and they were specially trained to be able to hold them and to contact ICE as soon as the people were arrested. And you go one county down, where Cheryl lives in Montgomery County, and they get an ICE detainer on an arrest, and because there was an NCIC check, ICE would show up and people would be gone for days.
It's nothing new, Chris. They do that background check, and they do the national database check, like you said. When they arrest anybody, they fingerprint them and run them through the national database, and they reference that. And if somebody's for immigration, they put them separately from other people, and ICE comes and picks them up. But that's like I don't think that's anything new. But I guess they just haven't been enforcing it or exercising it.
No, they purposely evade it.
Yeah,
So the purpose of
that's the whole point of a sanctuary city.
Exactly.
Right? What the Democrats tell them, right, is, yo, if you can get to the border, right, and get over the border, come to LA, come to New York, come to Chicago. We are a sanctuary city, which means you can live, you can work, and you're not going to have to worry about ICE deporting you.
We have breaking news, guys. Breaking news. The View's Sonny Hostin's husband has been arrested in a massive New York RICO case. There are over 200 alleged victims of his purported activities. Federal insurance fraud.
Oh, let's go.
The largest RICO fraud insurance case in history.
You already knew about this, Jen?
I did.
How do you?
Of course you did.
If y'all don't know, Jen freaking gets all the information before anybody else. I don't know. She's got some sort of like spidey senses or something.
Kim comes in, breaking news. Jen's like, I already know.
Excuse me, I didn't say, I already know, okay? I just added on to it. And she's like, did you already know about this? Like, yeah.
Can I say something about ICE?
Yes.
So sorry to intrude, everyone, but I called them, and someone comes here and can't leave because they'll never be allowed to come back. And they said, I'm so sorry, we don't have budget to do anything. And this was like a year ago. Like, we want to so bad, but we can't. Thank you so much. And like, I'll write this down, but they're like, they're not going to do anything. And I was like, what?
Well, that's what this is supposed to be like, I guess, to kind of maybe force these sanctuary cities to comply with the laws that are already on the books, because it says the bill aims to expand the conditions under which undocumented immigrants or illegal aliens, all of our shit needs to go back to illegal aliens, can be detained indefinitely.
So you guys realize that if they just enforce the laws on the books, the border problem would be fixed tomorrow?
100%. We spend all this time and money creating these laws, and then if you don't enforce them, yeah, we're going to have, civil unrest.
ICE and NCIS has had their hands tied. The Border Patrol has had their hands tied. They've been under Mayorkas, for God's sake. The guy's been nothing.
Because guys, this isn't migration. This is not migration. This is an invasion.
Yeah, the point is like they won't let ICE be ICE. They won't let them. They won't let ICE do their thing. They want to so bad, and they're not allowed.
Yeah, like literally, like Border Patrol, like, oh, we'd love to do something about it, but we're not allowed. That's not in our like.
So when do they start shirking orders and doing what's right for the country?
Tom Homan gets
they
in
get
there.
arrested. They get in trouble. They lose their pensions. Like, these people have worked for the Border Patrol for like 25 and 30 years. They paid into a pension this whole time. Like, yeah, they'd love to save the country, but like, if they do, like, their entire world goes up in flames, right? So like, I mean, you can't really blame these guys, right? But if you talk to them one-on-one, they'll tell you what's going on.
Like
right? They just can't come out and say it because of the retaliation that happens.
It's kind of like the nurses with the jabs, and people that knew, like, it's like, if enough people stood up, then,
All right, guys, I need
the
help.
problem.
It's saying that Adams is on this list of the non-voters, but when I look, the only Adams that was coming up was Alma Adams, and it said her seat was up on January 3rd. So what Adams is this? Current Democrat serving in the United States House of Representatives, 119th Congress.
Then that would be someone who maybe just got elected.
I just got the list, took office January 3rd. And there's nobody, when I do a search feature for Adams, nobody comes up.
What website are you on, Dr. Angela?
For what? I'm doing 5 searches at once. I'm looking at a list that someone produced of the, let me pull it up again.
Okay, if you go to house.gov and you go search for clerk, okay, that will give you the roll call votes that occur every day. It gives you all the floor activity. So you can search by bill and it will give you a roll call vote by bill. And if it's more than a day old, it will separate it by party.
I already had a list. I was just trying to get a freaking name to go with the supposed nay vote.
Okay, well then you can just, if you're on that
Hey,
site,
Kim, I'm trying to bring Lucas up, but there's no space. We need another co-host, or we need to drop somebody.
Hey, if I talk, I'll drop.
Hey, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for the mic, everybody. I'm going.
Yeah, I'll
y'all
drop
take
too.
care.
Give you room. Thank you so much.
Guys, I only needed one person to drop. Sorry.
You're a problem solver.
Trying.
You make shit happen, Jen. So
you can also search for representatives on that site, and it will give you. You just type in the last name, and it will give you all the representatives with that last name.
Yeah, I just clicked on Director of Representatives by last name, and she is coming up still, Alma Adams. So do I assume that this site is correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm looking at Grok. Grok says, I asked Grok what Republicans did not vote for the bill or voted against it. Let me accept the co-host real quick. And it said Republicans who did not vote on the Lake and Riley Act today are Josh Breachine, Oklahoma, District 2, I guess. Scott Disjarlias, or whatever his name is, Tennessee. Michael Waltz, Ken Buck, Colorado. Michael Waltz is from Florida, District 6, I guess. And
Ken Buck is not in the Congress anymore.
well, that's what this is. I guess, where is it sourcing these? Let me check the sources. Okay.
They changed the bill number. This may help. It's now bill number 29 in the 119th
Okay.
Congress. I'm going to post it in the purple pill.
That specifically
Lauren
today.
Boebert has Ken Buck's seat.
Well, hey, everybody. Can I go?
Go for it.
Okay, thanks. You guys have to get involved. So today was my county supervisors meeting, and they're little stroking themselves, each other, and welcoming in their new couple of them. And one of them is a former, flaming libtard. Her name's Jackie Spear. And now she's a county commissioner, and it's a county supervisor. It just disgusts me. But when they do their swearing in, they swear to the state constitution and the federal constitution, but they don't do it on a Bible, and they don't say, the proper verbiage is what I'm thinking. So I don't know if that makes it so that they get around or what have you, but I'm the only one that spoke up about how corrupt our county is and where we need to go and where we've been. And I needed some support. I actually got a couple other support. One was a foreigner. I think she was from China that spoke up briefly. She didn't know our language that well, but the other people were, saying about how we need to protect our sanctuary status. It's absolutely asinine. And I told them that I will be putting them all on notice. And I will not stand for this. And you guys need to step up too and go. If you're going to be a big talker, and I need to see you at these meetings, because if you just want to sit here on Spaces and talk, it's a bunch of bullshit. I need you to get involved in signing affidavits. There's people that are actually producing documentation and submitting it to the Supreme Court and to their local jurisdictions in which you can help. But you need to get involved by letting them know that they're on notice, and that if they do maladministration, they can be personally held liable. And it's not difficult to say some of these words. And you guys are extremely intelligent people. But until I see you in these meetings, because when President Trump gets in there, he's going to need our horsepower pushing back through the counties and through our local officials, which mean, just like what you're talking about, is that I talked to the sheriff in Wyoming. I said, hey, what's your status on sanctuary and illegals? And, oh, we're not going to arrest them and take them. We're not going to go hunting them down. And I was flabbergasted, because it's not necessarily a hunt, but if you find somebody that happens to have crossed the border, it's immediately an illegal act against our country, and they need to be deported. And so you need to support them on that too, and make sure that they understand that we need their support, because it can turn to lawlessness. So I saw a video of, a bunch of people in the desert that were surrounding people that were camping and overrunning these campers. And they were, to me, I don't know if they were illegal or thugs or what, but can you imagine be out camping in your camper and having your van and family ransacked by 20 or 30 people? What are you going to do? So it's a matter of lawlessness. It's a matter of them assimilating properly. That's the reason we have a process. And this particular deal has been an invasion, which you all know. I'm just speaking of that. But I expect to see you guys answering the JOT forms and signing and getting involved. There's Jaron Jackson that does it. There's Real Dave Cares for You that is writing JOT forms. And he's, a lot of these people have learned through extreme pain and through losing their kids through CPS and other things. And that's how they learn this procedural, and you guys may not believe it, but if you watch Gorsuch and what he talks about, he's spelling it out, that we, the people, do have the power, and we are the sovereign. And he says it, but you have to understand what sovereign means.
I know what you're talking about when Gorsuch said that.
Okay, good. And you guys can, just learn slowly. If you don't bite, the old saying, right? You can't eat an elephant in one bite. But if you guys get involved and you're dead serious about it, then, we can speak about this and get going on it. Because if you just show up and go to your county commissioners and say, we're not putting up with the bullshit, we're watching you, that puts them on notice to a certain degree, right? And you don't have to speak, super intellectually for more than a minute or whatever, but just to let them know that you're involved and you care, I think will help us all. So
I also interact with them on social media a lot too. So that's another good tactic to use. Yep. Engage with them, ask them questions, get on their posts, and, if they post something, get out there and find out what's going on and engage with them that way. I highly encourage everyone to go to their county meetings, their school board meetings. They're getting ready to ramp up here. I have a meeting on Thursday. So, it's really important. And I know Rusty, she's got meetings all over the place, don't you, Rusty?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, okay. So one of my, the biggest thing that so one of the things that's most important to me is making America first, right? And I think this is the one thing that most white Americans don't get. And again, please don't roll your eyes or, it's, black people feel like they've been slighted, and they kind of have, they have been slighted in America. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you look at January 6th, you look at what a lot of people have been kind of awakened by January 6th, right? But they also, the other thing, you look at, like, there are multiple people that I've met that were, they were, I apologize. I'm gonna have to step down. I apologize.
Hey, Rusty, you never have to apologize. You're good. But hey, the one thing I remember is that when the economy's booming, it seemed like everybody had more love for each other. I just remember that we all got along a lot better and people had optimism. So it's a matter of having, a lot of optimism and
peace through strength.
Yeah, and we lift each other up when everybody's doing better, and gas prices aren't out of control. We lift each other up and stuff. So,
wait, I also think that yes, that there have been several segments of the population that have been wronged, lied to, slighted. But I also think the entire population has been wronged, slighted. We have been made to be divided. It's been through the media and through our government. They have done this on purpose. And I think that considering all of the pressures that have been put on us, we did pretty damn well. So I don't, I think that white people have been beat up enough. I think that we need to all just stop with this color shit and, get together as Americans, get these assholes out of our country and get back to business.
The people that are supposed to be servants to we the people have turned us into indentured servitude. Basically, we're
totally,
so all of us
and
are on
absolutely
the plantation right now,
and that's why
we got to be
2026 they got to be fired.
And everybody has to be held accountable for their own voting record, right? So if anybody's been slighted, they need to go back to their own voting record. And, are you responsible for your own voting record? I can tell you I live in California. I don't vote for these crazy people, but clearly enough people do, or there's enough fraud in our elections that I keep having to deal with crap, right? I don't feel happy about that, but I'm going to work to change it, period.
Dr. Angela, have you connected with Denise Aguilar?
Only online, and it's crazy. I don't even want to tell you how many things we have in common. And
her mom, Alicia, is the coolest thing. I was watching her videos today, so you definitely need to connect with her.
Right?
And
who believes she lost? There's no way.
Exactly.
There's no freaking way.
She didn't lose. Our elections are fraudulent, period. I've been
She's such
saying
a
it for
badass,
decades.
and she's earned it through her life experiences.
Oh, 100%. Go ahead, Mr. Philby.
Jeff was ahead of me.
I'm sorry, I didn't see Jeff's hand. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I had set it down. I was just on a space very early this morning with some younger guys, and they, I'm going to quote, "How could you boomers allow this situation to collapse and for y'all to let our country get invaded by these people? You're just weak." And I was like, oh, I'm like, between.
Now the blame game starts. Well, guess what? We're not going to put up with that crap because you know what? Blaming is unproductive. The situation is what it is, and then we just got to take it and move forward and to try to fix it as best we can until such time as we can fix it for real.
Jeff, real quick, let me ask you, what do you think, like with Carter being laid to rest today, and him and his VP were actually like the first presidents of, that were held by David Rockefeller, essentially, the Trilateral Commission, all that stuff. It feels like an end of an era, of this international intervention in our country. And here we have Trump coming in with his team. So I don't know. I feel good about it. You know, what's your take on that, Jeff?
Then we could get
Yeah,
into the first 100 days. Yeah.
You had broke up on my mic earlier, Adam. You were saying something about Jimmy Carter and the Trilateral Commission.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that him and his VP were the first ones that were like basically, were correlated and in a way installed by them, So with him being put to rest, feels like the end of an era. That we're moving into a new era with Trump and Team America First. Going back to our roots, hopefully. What our founding fathers intended for this country. Jeff, you with me?
Yeah. Just I was just thinking that all these years and decades of fighting combat and I took care of the boomers. I'm Generation X. I take care of everybody from 7 years old all the way up to 79 right now. And I've done it since 1990 when my father had a stroke. And for the younger guys in particular to smash me at 5 o'clock this morning and blame everything on me, I take it personally, and I accept that position. It's my fault, but we're in charge now, guys, and we're gonna fix it. And that's the main point. So it was I believe I don't even want to go into their details of their gripes because this is not the place.
But that's just,
again,
that is a result of it makes them feel better. And you should not take on that burden because it is everybody's fault. Okay. We all got into this situation, even these little young whippersnappers, because if they hadn't been such a pain in the ass, maybe their parents would have paid more attention. I don't know. But if we're going to go play the blame game, we're not going to get anywhere. So it is what it is. You got to just accept what it is. We're on the right track. The man hadn't even gotten into office yet. So let's let him get in there.
They think the old school people are voting against him and separating the Republican Party. That's their take. That's the Nick Fuentes, who I don't follow, but I'm understanding that the Groypers feel like
they have nothing to do with
the
us.
rhinos are in charge.
The Nick Fuentes types. Those people are fools. They're just clickbaiters, and
I mean, let's not let's not forget recent history. We don't have to go back that far. We only have to go back as far as a presidency of William Jefferson Clinton. Okay, so Bill Clinton became president. He was elected in 1992, and because of or with the help of his wife Hillary Rodham Clinton, who tried to help him pass Hillary Care. Bill lost control of Congress after 2 years. And the Democrats lost control of the House for the first time in 40 years. And the Speaker of the House became Newt Gingrich. And Gingrich led a revolution which came to be because of a contract with America. And one of the things that Gingrich and Clinton were able to accomplish amongst several government shutdowns and a midnight tryst between Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was a welfare to work act where people who were receiving public assistance would have to take training over a period of 5 years, get a job, and get off of welfare. And then welfare, as we knew it, would cease to exist. And it took 4 tries for that to happen. But it finally passed. And so when it did, Clinton took the credit for it, and God bless him, let him have it. But people were finally given an opportunity to feel good about themselves for doing work that they got paid for. They received training so that they could earn a paycheck, and they weren't on the government dole. And they have programs that help them stay at work and help them pay for their child care, which made America a more productive society. And that continued for the rest of the Clinton administration and through the years of George W. Bush, even though we had an economic downturn with the collapse of the real estate, which was partially due to Bill Clinton, who exacerbated the Community Banking Act, which was passed under Jimmy Carter, and put people into homes that they had no business being in because they were being financed in below market loans only because they could show a check stub and fog a mirror. And people knew that they were never going to be able to make their first payments. And they would be foreclosed upon within 6 months. Then came Barack Obama. And Barack Obama was the hope and change president. And a lot of people voted for Obama because they were tired of Bush, they were tired of the war, they were tired of the bad feelings they had because of the collapse of the real estate issues.
They were desperate for someone who could give a speech.
And they, I think a lot of people thought that maybe it's time that we have a black president. And this is a guy that maybe we can get behind. And by the time his 8 years in office were over, not only was the welfare to work program completely reversed and destroyed, and people were back on welfare, but the racism in this country was at the highest point it had been in the last 50 years. We became more divided than we had ever been. Since
Democrats are racist.
Since the race riots of 1968, that's how bad it was. And I was around in 1968, so I can tell you that for a fact. And so, go ahead, Jeff.
The Dixiecrats were the seat of the Ku Klux Klan. Senator Robert Byrd was the Grand Kleagle, the head of information for the Ku Klux Klan. That's the main reason. The main reason that I voted for the Republican Party was because of what they did to the girls in Birmingham, Alabama at the church. I could never see voting for the Democrats. That's exactly why I voted for the Republicans. Thank you, Chris. Continue.
So then came Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was somebody that everybody in this country knew. They knew him for all kinds of different reasons. You know, they knew him because he was on TV. They knew him because they'd seen him in a Christmas movie. They knew him because of his celebrity and his buildings and all sorts of other things. And he wins the nomination of the Republican Party. And in the process, makes regular American people feel like they have a voice for the first time in their lives. Because he tells the news media to go to hell. You're fake news. Nobody ever had the balls to do that before. Nobody nobody ever stood there and just said, we're not going to put up with your shit anymore. And spoke for the common man and woman.
So what do you think he's going to do?
And you got 40,000 people to show up at a Trump rally, which had never been seen in the history of politics, ever.
Really? He was the first one to do that?
Yes. And it didn't happen just once. It happened all over the country, everywhere. And it was a tremendous groundswell of regular Americans who felt good about America. And then came the coup de grace for the Democrats. Hillary Clinton tells her supporters that we're a basket of deplorables. And that sealed the election for Donald Trump. Because whatever hope she had for being president went out the door with that. And you took a guy who had dipped in and out of politics, who had been involved in politics from the standpoint of being a donor, going to parties, shaking a lot of hands, but had never even been elected dog catcher. And on election night in 2016, becomes the president of the United States.
Yep. And she was saying things like she wanted to put us in re-education camps because we were saying things like lock her up, you know? So she was shook.
So
and they found her in the forest drinking wine, right, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
When we look
Dude,
back,
we just lost power.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What do you mean you lost power?
There's apparently 1,000 people out of power in Pinellas County right now.
Ooh.
And it's cold, right? So probably everybody was running their space heaters because most Florida homes don't have heat, and it feels like it's under 40 right now.
You
That's
have
what
to
it
have
says on the
heat.
news.
You cannot like if you rent a place, like you have to provide heat. You don't have to provide air conditioning, but it is the law that you must provide heat in the house.
Really? Well, how do
Yes,
people
absolutely.
still not have heat here? Freaking
because you're in a beach house.
No,
It doesn't matter. It's the
I
law.
have heat normally, but with no power, there's no heat.
Well, of course, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is people were probably running space heaters. Way too many space heaters running right now, probably.
Do you all have high winds down there right now?
Nope. It's just cold.
It's freezing. Currently,
Where the hell's Dustin? Where's Dustin at? It's cuddle time.
Currently, it is 49 degrees. Feels like 40.
New Yorkers are laughing at that, saying that's cold. But yeah.
I am literally sitting in the car with a blanket on, charging my phone.
Jen is from New York.
Technically.
She is the...
She's laughing on the
epitome of
inside, all right?
No, I'm not laughing because like my parents would literally pull me out of school every year from January until March, and I was homeschooled, and we would live in Florida for the winter. So, yeah.
Jen is like me. We don't do cold. I do.
Well, I'm driving.
I know.
Through the snow.
You're always driving in the snow.
The temperature, Chris.
In a blue Buick. Okay?
You guys are loving this
Skylock.
global warming. This global warming's gonna warm your heart,
You're talking to the wrong crowd with that shit.
right?
So I'm feeling horrible right now that I'm in a warm car in a snowy place and Jen is freezing.
Get your ass out of the car and sync up with her. Get out of the car, Philby, and just freaking freeze your ass off. What the hell are you doing, dude? So did you guys?
Oh shit!
Did you guys see Trump? Did you guys see what Trump posted today? Though he's trolling everybody in regards to the.
Ooh, let's talk about that. Jed,
Dude, it's
what's your
fucking
favorite Trump?
hilarious. He did it twice.
What's your favorite Trump tweet today, Jed? Can you read it? Can you read it for me in the car? Maybe it'll make it heat up faster.
I'm technically not here.
Technically not here.
Sleepy had a Trump post that he wanted to read, I think.
Go
No,
for it.
It wasn't a post. It's a picture of the. It says United States and it has Canada, Greenland, everything on it, all the way up. And he did it twice in two different fashions. One with the American flag and another one that just says United States.
My problem is we have enough socialists voting in our election.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't need more.
Dude, that's so funny because the Canadian communists that were in a space were like they were like, you know, carving themselves out who we would want, and it was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh! That was one of Savvy's friends the other night. That was talking about the map of how we're going to take Canada, leave Quebec, and a couple of other places. Suit. Yeah, it was Brick Suit. That's right. It's perfect.
Yeah, we're not taking Quebec. They don't want to be part of Canada.
And the only
anyway.
reason we're taking Victoria is because of some their gold or something. I don't know.
You gotta have a land bridge to Alaska.
Right.
Yeah, we got to be connected with Alaska. I agree with that.
Well, what I didn't know that like that there's like a sliver of the coastline. We own all of the coast up the west coast of Canada. Like that is all America.
Is that considered like a U.S. border territory? And that's why?
It's ours. It is U.S. territory.
Oh, so we got a sliver going up the west coast.
Yeah, it's like the
That's
whole.
cool.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, we just said no. You're not going to have any waterfront in the west coast.
Yeah, it'd be nice to drive up and not get asked, you know, where are you going? Where are you going to stay? How long are you staying? Where's your next shit going to be?
Did you
There's
take
other
your
countries
COVID
to go
shot?
to.
By
Yeah,
the way,
where's
where's
your card?
the flames
Go,
have now reached the Getty Art Museum.
Oh
That's
no.
opposite. The Getty is opposite of where the fire is, but so maybe they got blowback on the fire. I don't know, but
Like, what is wrong with you? Seriously.
No, it's not opposite of where
Like,
the fire is. It's inland.
I
Like,
the
do you
fire
always
Getty
talk
is,
out
I
of your
fly right-
ass, or just
I fly
today? Are
right
we
over the
lucky?
Getty. That's my base entry into Santa Monica Airport. I fly right over the Getty. I know where the Getty is. So it's sad if it started that far east. I didn't know that. I thought it was more out on the coast. So my bad. But
It's Pacific Palisades is where it is.
well, I thought I saw it out over the ocean.
I just pulled up an article. Los Angeles.
It's like
Times
it's
about
like
an
right
hour
in the
ago.
middle of fucking L.A.
It says Getty Villa
Exactly.
Museum catching fire. LAFD says on radio. And then
It's the Villa Museum. Is that a different one than the the one that's on top of the hill?
I don't know. This one says Getty Villa Museum. That's all I'm seeing in reports is Getty Villa Museum. So might be something different.
If the Getty's on fire, then it's like smack in the middle of LA.
Well, you know, Simi Valley is not that far away. You know what's in Simi Valley?
The Reagan Presidential Library.
Yep.
And it almost burned the last fire that went through.
Don't they all these like celebrities up in these hills? Don't they all have tunnels anyway?
It's a bunch of bullshit. They advertise this stuff on the news a couple days before it comes, and then it's arson. These people that are pissed off go and start this shit. They shouldn't advertise it on TV. Oh, it's going to be an extremely high fire danger, and it's going to be offshore winds with high temperatures, and oh, it would be terrible if you went and started a fire.
They're doing.
So apparently, Sam Altman's sister Sam Altman of OpenAI. His sister has come out in court, filed paperwork, and accuses him of sexually abusing her for almost a decade.
What? What is happening right now? Well, so I was thinking about this today. And again, I said something earlier. Like, we've only heard about, right, like the celebrities and the politicians that are wrapped up in the Diddy thing and the Epstein thing and whatever and the Pizzagate. But we haven't, like, even scratched the surface of this, right? And you've got to think, you've got heads of companies, you've got higher ups, you've got family members. It's like there's just so much, and I, they keep saying to us, oh my gosh, you're not going to be able to handle it when the list comes out, you're going to be shocked, you're going to be like, just do it. I think that they're concerned that the entire society is going to collapse because of all of the quote unquote leaders that are going to be wrapped up in this mess.
And we're like, nope, we expect it.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if I don't care. I want to know. I want to know right now. And let's just rip off the Band-Aid, as Dustin says, and get this over with so that we can get to work. Like, it's such a distraction, and it's so, it's embarrassing too. It's gross. The whole world knows that we are the largest purveyor, consumer, distributor of that nonsense.
Well, George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And
I don't want to be in that
exactly
club.
because you got morals, that's why we're not in it. And it is a big club, and they got to be held accountable.
So I didn't see, was it today that Trump spoke, or was it yesterday? When he came out and was talking about taking over Greenland and all that good stuff. I would like to listen to that.
Yeah, it was actually very funny. He's like, that's very rude of you to talk that way about the United States, is what he said, something to that effect. You shouldn't talk rude about the United States ever.
Hey, Adam, do you think you could maybe wrangle up that clip for us?
Yeah, I got to bring Cyber back on the stage.
That's fine.
Let's see.
I definitely want to go because I want to listen to that speech because it kind of gets into sort of some foreshadowing of his first 100 days, right? And what we know that he's going to do the pardons. He said that of the January 6th people. And I did catch one of the press questions, and that was it. And they said something about, what about the violent offenders? And I thought his answer was good. He said, we're going to look at it.
The full Trump speech from today?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull that up. I'll search for it real quick.
How long is it?
Let me see. I've watched clips of it. I haven't watched the full thing. So let me see if I can find the full speech.
Mr. Philby, did you make it home yet?
Yeah. According to Nick's order, Los Angeles area wildfires are moving at 2 to 3 football fields per minute, according to Southern California Fire.
Because they have 100-mile-an-hour winds?
He says Trump warned them.
Well, he did.
If you cut a line in it, and knock a line out an acre wide, it would stop it, or it'd slow it down.
Not with Santa Ana's, man. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, it's basically just gonna. The issue is all of the county and the city land. The Bureau of Land Management has done a piss poor job of maintaining the lands in their common areas that they're supposed to be the stewards of. Yeah, they've done a real shitty job, and I think that falls on my good buddy Deb Haaland. And I can't wait for her ass to get out.
That's one of the things Trump definitely spoke about during his presidency.
Absolutely, he did all the time.
Cleaning the brush.
If this
controlled burns.
If this were just regular fires, I would agree with you, Jeff. But I mean, when you got 100-mile-an-hour, 80-mile-an-hour gusts that are pushing these things, you've got cinders that are are going for miles and miles at a time. You know.
Yes, sir. I know that. Those pine
Yeah.
trees in Rio Doso are the same way. When the winds cut through the Mescalero, it's hard to stop it.
I mean, it's just this is just nuts.
Pretty well.
I mean,
It is due to lack of maintenance. I mean, there are definitely things that we can do to mitigate these fires and make them not be so susceptible.
well, you can raise taxes and that'll stop the sale.
Oh, I heard that.
Gavin Newsom's plan, and then pockets it himself. But the video is about an hour and 12 minutes long. No, that's an older video. I was gonna say she put out a shorter one. But yeah, the full speech is about that's Trump for you. An hour and 12 minutes. He's still rallying.
Well, you go to, maybe we can do the end part when he fields questions, because I always find that to be interesting.
And he did the pardon thing today,
Yeah,
too.
he said he was going to pardon, and that
He
he got a question about it. I don't know where it was in the thing because it was just a clip of the question and his answer. Then
I've got a part where it says Trump fields questions, and it's toward like 43 minutes in.
Yeah, that's
so
perfect.
We started there.
So, hey, when's his supposed last rally? I keep getting little email snippets about it. I don't know anything about it. Does anybody know about his last rally?
Sunday prior to the inauguration. Is it 1819, something like that?
Awesome. And where is it? Anybody know where it is?
I do. I don't know. Am I allowed to say something, Jen? Maybe.
I would say it's better not to say unless someone is invited and has a ticket.
Jen's frozen to death.
There is a rally on the 19th. I can say that much. I know. Everything else will have to wait until he truths it.
All right, that's cool. I'm gonna go see that giant statue. So maybe I'll hear something there at the giant statue.
It sounds like you keep taking a bong rip, like right before you come off mic.
I've had this incessant cough, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's been going around. My mom's got it. I've lightly had it, but yeah. Hope you feel better, Sleepy.
Yeah, definitely. Do some vitamin C and zinc, man.
I did it's a half a cup of organic raw honey, a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of organic vanilla extract, and a half a teaspoon of ginger. And I made
got that ginger in there too.
Yeah, yeah. And I made it the other day for my aunt because she wasn't feeling well, and she was fighting off cold, and she feels like amazing. And it's only been 2 days.
And how much?
No
bourbon?
bourbon.
Oh, that would be a hot toddy then.
I didn't put no bourbon in there. I don't even have any bourbon right now. I mean, I haven't drank in so long. I don't have any booze. I do have a bottle of champagne though.
How can you mix something like that and not put a little bourbon in it?
It was during the day, and I wanted her to go home.
But it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Remember that.
Again, I wanted her to go home. I love her, but I wanted her to go home. I didn't want to breathe it on me. All right,
I got it queued up at 31 minutes where it says Trump fields questions. So.
Well, we'll play a little bit of it. If I put my hand up, then you can stop it.
Yeah, or you could just mute Cyber Patriot. You are the host, so that's.
Oh yeah.
Be the boss that you are. There we go.
Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold the vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this: we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than, probably the most expensive. They say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
On Ukraine and Iran, the two negotiations you'll be heading into. On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated.
Do you believe?
Because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started. It's you.
Well, not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
So you've got what you've got. At this point, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that were the case.
Would you make a commitment to provide a security guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire along the lines of the French and the Germans?
So, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that that's been like written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal and then Biden broke it. They had a deal, which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said, they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills. So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who, you'll probably have it, because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up, he says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%. But many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%. Well, I think NATO should have 5%. Yeah. Well, you can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, you know, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%. I'm the one that got them to pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a prime minister stood up, and he said to me, sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, will the United States protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you. I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was the most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
2 questions. All right. You want to go question by question and talk about it, or what
Sure. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
Based? That's my comment.
Well, you know, you have to think too, guys, like a lot of the American people that, you know, didn't go to Trump rallies have not heard this stuff before. Like if they aren't, you know, Trumpites or whatever, like I had never heard it before I started paying attention a couple of years ago and started listening to rallies. All that stuff was completely new to me. You know, his negotiations with NATO, his you know, negotiations with China, his negotiation with the Taliban, you know, the thing with Soleimani, is that it? Soleimani? So I think that people are getting exposed to this for the first time, and I'm here for it. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, Kim, everyone. I've enjoyed listening. You know, I wanted to talk about Greenland earlier, but in the wake of listening to Trump there, when I first heard Trump making moves towards Greenland in his first administration, I thought he's very serious about backing out of NATO, and I think it makes all the sense in the world to make better relations. Sorry, that damn scanner. To have better relations with our neighbors at home rather than.
What kind of scanner is that from?
I'm gonna turn that off. It keeps going off.
I love it that you got scanners, Lucas. I just picture Lucas like up top on the mountain, just up there, just, you know, keeping it real.
There, I turned it down. That's because we always got to know what's going on around here. Small town.
Radio scanner. My bad. I was like talking. I was thinking like a paper scanner or something. I'm like, damn, that thing's. All right, go ahead, Lucas. My bad.
No, well, yeah. Sorry for those interruptions, but no, I think that we should expect. You know, the writing on the wall for NATO is that it will cease to be. And I think that's good for America first, because it mires us in European conflicts, and we don't need to be in European conflicts. And Trump is going to take a lot of heat for, you know, it's quote unquote more empire or more colonialism, whatever they want to call it. But in reality, you know, Philby, you brought up the Clintons earlier. And since we've signed NAFTA, you know, what was our federal government to begin with but a trade agreement between sovereign states? And when Mexico and Canada entered into that free trade agreement with us, we've needed to put on the table questions about immigration and come to some sort of terms of immigration quotas and movement in between these countries. And when Don Jr. went to Greenland today, I guarantee you those are things that were discussed. Do you guys want to be able to come to the United States? Do you want to be able to go to Canada and not have to present a passport and to work there and to stay for longer than 3 months? And those will be, I think, more important carrots to put on the table than quote unquote buying Greenland from Denmark. Who cares about Denmark? I mean, I love Denmark, but at the same time, you know,
He answered that question very interestingly. So I definitely want to I want to go back and listen to that, because I just heard briefly today, but I think that I mean I love the vision that's going on, and I really do I really do hope that he gets to have like a true presidency, because I don't think that his first one, I mean, I can't even imagine what he would have been able to pull off had he not had, you know, Russiagate and 2 impeachments and blah, 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 blah. I mean, there was never a moment when he wasn't, you know, being investigated or, you know, messed with or subverted. And I you know, when I first heard him fielding questions today, the first thing that came to my mind was, boy, I bet that press is so happy to have him back, even if they hate him, because at least he freaking talks to us every day. He will talk to us every day. During COVID, every day he was up there, twice a day, 3 times a day. I mean, that man didn't sleep. He was so worried. You could tell he was just like giving us any information that he could. And when I found out the other day that whole drink bleach thing was about chlorine dioxide, I freaking lost it. That's what they were talking about. I couldn't believe it.
Lucas, what was that trade agreement? Was it the USMCA that was over the NAFTA? Because what I'm seeing, replacing outdated North American Free Trade Agreement NAFTA with the United States USMCA, I thought it was, yeah. So he did that in January 29, 2020. It's stating.
Well, NAFTA was, I think, in 92 by Clinton. 92.
Yeah, but Trump
I'm looking at the National Archives.
What was the name of the new agreement that Trump?
That's what I said. The USMCA is the largest, most significant, modern, and balanced trade agreement in history. All of our countries will benefit. Donald Trump.
Canada, Mexico.
Yeah. So delivering on his promise, President Donald J. Trump is replacing the outdated North American Free Trade Agreement with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. Today, President Trump is signing his historic USMCA deal, making good on his promise to deliver fairer and more reciprocal trade for American people. USMCA will replace the terrible NAFTA agreement that resulted in the loss of millions of American jobs and devastated communities across our country. The deal marks a tremendous victory for American workers, farmers, manufacturers, and businesses alike. So that was in January 29th, 2020. And this is from the Trump White House Archives.gov website.
Let's get to Bumble real quick. And then I want to talk about that for just a minute, because I feel like Biden undid that or something. Go ahead, Bumble.
Thank you, Kim. So, what a joyous day it is for me to wake up to a president behaving presidentially instead of the reverse of a Biden news conference where he lies so many times. I imagine his nose growing. I trust Trump. I don't need him to be transparent fully, but I need him to be as transparent as he was today. Because just listening to the man, I get all warm and fuzzy. And I'm looking over at the salad I ordered at lunchtime. And I still haven't touched it because I've been so enthralled in following along all day as to what he had to say.
I'm with you, Bumble. I'm so excited to have him back and get to hear him every day. And I can't wait to see what he's going to put out next. I can't wait what he's going to troll next. I mean, the art of the troll should be his next book. Okay.
Let's get hype. You know, like, it's so on.
It is. It's beautiful. All right. Can we listen to another part of it? Does anybody else have any other they want to? Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, please. I wanted to make a point that when the Soviet Union collapsed was probably the last time until just recently that I worried about Russia. And a handshake agreement between Gorbachev and then, of course, the paperwork. And President Ronald Reagan agreed that the NATO would not move towards Russia for the collapse of the USSR. So then we fast forward to where we're at today, and that promise was broken. Secondly, before the Nord Stream gas pipeline that cut off gas to Germany blew up, Boris Johnson could have signed a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia, but he was told not to do so. So now we're in this predicament, and President Trump is correct that it's a difficult situation. Thank you.
I'm sure they're going to get after him about, you said within the first 24 hours, blah, blah, blah. All right. Do you want to play some more, Adam?
Yeah, let me go ahead and play some. I'll let it go. Sorry, I was typing.
Questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking?
Well, I won't tell you that because it's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about, the Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that. And he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened. Iran was weakened. And he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names. And they went in and they took over. And that's the way it is.
I'm sorry. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control?
By the way, I have the envoy here. Is that in the back? Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Woodcoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job. He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
My second question is,
Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words. I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually. He's done a fantastic job. And it's a dangerous job, too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve. I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the president. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the president, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there, that's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 28th? That's what if there's a deal even at all, you think there is. I know.
I would say
It better be.
right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will
Before I
be paid,
take office.
all hell must be paid if they don't release the
Well, you know what that
hostages.
means, don't you? What, do I have to define it for you? All
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If
what-
those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
All right, we'll stop there.
awesome.
Yo,
I'm so excited we've got a
Right?
fucking badass leading this country
Right?
again. Good
Eastern
Lord.
strength. Step in line. You know?
Like all hell will break loose. You know what that means, right? Yes.
Oh my God. Honestly, just hearing him and seeing him at this press conference, no lie, I've been getting teary-eyed. Just like, thank God. It was like tears of joy, though. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Like, we have a real president now, on the way.
Does that mean that
He'll send the you-know-who in there to get him.
Does that mean that they're going to start sending, like, pictures of Kool-Aid over there? Purple Kool-Aid?
No, that means if they don't hand over the hostages, they're going to go in very tactically and mess some shit up, and get them back,
I don't know. Is it just me, or does it seem like I don't think that there are any hostages left?
Well, the Kool-Aid option's not horrible. Yeah.
What is the Kool-Aid option?
I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. Spell it out for us.
I remember the commercials where he'd
Thinking
bust the
Jim
wall.
Jones, like what?
Yeah, why don't you look up Jonestown, Guyana?
Oh, okay. All right.
President Trump said it best. President Trump said it best. We don't give the enemy any information.
Exactly. That was excellent. The way he responded to these reporters was amazing. Jen, are you with us? Are you okay?
Yeah, we need proof of life, please.
I haven't heard from you for a minute, and I want to check in on you.
He's probably in hypothermia now.
Our finger's probably an icicle and will not press the mic button.
No joke, it is pretty cold. I've got my window open, and it's like I'm in Central Florida, so it's like windy, but it's.
We have no wind.
I'm enjoying it, but I wouldn't want to be outside sitting there right now.
Conservative MAGA, what did you think of having President Trump back on the podium?
I've been in and out of here, guys. I'm sorry. My day's ending. I finally got something in my belly after a very long day, as usual. But yeah, I got to relax. I mean, like you guys, I know how you're feeling, and I feel the same way. My heart wants to come out of my chest, and I want to just freaking scream. It's kind of like when Trump won the first time, and we had all those really cool memes of people screaming, the liberals screaming because he became the president. That's kind of the way I feel, but in a really good, happy way. And he's said enough exactly what he's going to do with Agenda 47 and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. So I'm shifting, though. I'm shifting because I've stepped away from my local GOP for a second just to catch some wind, and plus I've been working 7 days a week for the last couple months. So I think today's number 45, 46. I don't remember anymore. My days have all blended. I don't have a Monday and I don't have a Sunday anymore. So anyways, on that point, I think I mentioned in another space that was really cool. I don't know if it was with you guys or another space, but there was a lot of people in there. We're talking about what to do next. And I got to find a way to culminate this into a mission where our local GOPs are in lockstep with all of our federal GOPs and the higher ups and the whole, from the very top GOP all the way down to the very, very bottom of the local GOPs, even to the smallest group of GOP people that take part in their stuff. I want to go into the office and I want to see a mission statement, and every mission statement in every city, in every little township, when you walk into the local GOP office, it says the same thing there. I also want, whenever you walk into there and you go to your meetings, you start out with a prayer. Everyone's doing it, like if 100 or 1,000 of them are doing a meeting at 6 o'clock at night, that there's 100 or there's 1,000 of them all doing the same prayer at the same time type thing. And you feel that unity, that we're all doing the same thing and we're all saying the same message. So, lately, the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing a really cool thing. I followed Leo the Lion. He's really cool. He's got the Rhino Project, and I'm really into that. I really want to get these rhinos out of office.
And I know we've all talked about it. I know you guys have talked about it also.
I want all of the Bush dynasty. If you have a connection to any of the Bushes, bye.
Well, I had, that's when I became independent, was when the Bushes took over. So that's how, and then I learned later on through a few years down the road that no, I want my GOP to be my GOP, so someone
That's
taught
funny.
me.
That's why I registered to be Republican. I was independent, but I was like, I need to be voting in these primaries.
Right? It's crazy how, like they circle jerked me to get out of the GOP because of all the wars and all the spending of the money, and then nothing changed from the Democrat to it just kind of it's like they mind melded back in the Bush dynasty time, and the mass destruction stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I go, who am I following here? I'm following the same rhetoric. And it's funny because when the Republicans were in and when we more warmongered and we went and destroyed city after city in a different country, the Democrats would complain about it, and that would be where they stood on, like, no more wars. And then the Democrats got in there, they're doing the same damn thing. It's like, oh my God, really? So, I mean, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of good coming out of this, but I really want to focus on some, the Rhino Project, getting the rhinos out, and then having a mission statement, the same one put in every local GOP office. But yeah, that was cool. What he's
It
going to do.
just needs to be a question in every office, written as big as it can possibly fit on the wall. And it says, is this good for the American people? They need to say that with every decision that they make. Is this good for the American people? If it's not, then they don't do it. If it's good, then they do it. That's it.
It's not difficult. It's like the same prayer. It doesn't, it can be our national prayer, what we say before every meeting, like, I forget who it was. I got it in my bookmarks or something like that. I think it was it Adams? He had a prayer that he said every day, and I thought that was a really cool prayer that he did, but I can't think of which one it was or the number or whatever, where it came from.
I think the Thinker read that the other night, didn't she, Adam?
Which?
Or somebody did. Somebody read the prayer that Adams said every night, or was it Jefferson? It was one of them that said it every single day. It was really good.
May have missed that.
Yeah, it was in a space, and I didn't, for someone to have that kind of dedication, I mean, that's got to be all of us. And I know it's all of you guys. I know you guys done 1,000 times more than I could ever even think of doing until the end of my life, but the more I slow down, which is not right now, I'll be slowing down in a couple more years, but I'm going to spend every waking moment at least learning at the least, and calling every day people that I need to discuss politics with, like I do. I email every day. I do these little things, but it kind of feels like just being on X, where we're just talking about everything that needs to happen. So I really want to get involved, but I work so much that it's hard to spend more than a couple hours, 3 hours a week actually going and seeing people. But we had a nice discussion today at work with a guy, a good friend of mine for a few years now, and he didn't realize all the stuff that was going on. He just didn't know all the issues that we discuss here, what's going on. So,
well, and I think that's what these spaces really bring that about, right? Like, I think that because we sit in here and we get well versed in these topics, we can then go and speak to them in our everyday lives. And I think that that's one of the most valuable things that we get out of these spaces, is being able to speak to some of these things and carry them forward, so that, because you're just like I said, I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't heard Trump talk about NATO. There's people that, they didn't go to rallies or anything like that. They may have voted for him. They may have even reluctantly voted for him. But when they hear now that he's going to be back on the national stage, you've got a whole new generation of people that are going to be paying attention to him, and that sort of rallied behind him through the lens of, they were raised on him being a dictator. So I think that we saw so many different people of different races, nationalities, that, you know, are citizens, like turning away from the Democratic Party and coming to, you know, vote for Trump. So I think that it's going to be interesting to watch everybody get exposed to him.
I agree, conservative. You know, there's the thing is there's a lot of ignorance. We could say that, you know, that was a problem. Ignorant voters, and people are uneducated voters. You know, that were going out there and voting.
Hey guys, I gotta drop off. I'll talk to y'all later.
I hope you warm up.
Thanks. I got the camp propane stove thing going on in the kitchen from when we didn't have electric during the hurricanes. So
look at you.
Hopefully.
You're all prepared.
Be careful, sweetie.
I will.
Be careful.
They said it should turn on back on by 1:30 a.m. apparently.
I'll do a check-in later.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.
All right. So let's get to the rest of that. Go ahead, conservative, and then we'll get to the rest of that, and then I'm going to shut her down.
And the next thing, I've heard a lot of talk about the waste and abuse and stuff we have in the government. So talking about how, and I don't know whose show was it, if it was Ryan's show and talking about, I don't know if it was with Elon, I forget who it was with, but all the seats, like you go to Washington and they have a building and say there's 1,000 offices in that building, but only 30 of the desks are filled. Okay. And then the other, 970 seats in that office are also being paid for by us, but no one's sitting in those seats. And then every year when they rebudget, they ask for more seats and ask for more money, but they're not going to fill the seat. So, I don't know how bad it is, but I think my example was more of a dramatic way of explaining it, but that's the way it was the way I kind of heard it. And it just lit me on fire. I'm paying, I am kind of figuring my books towards the end of this year here. And I get stretched from time to time. I do well. I make a decent living, but I'm finding out that, on top of my 36% that they take out of my check, that it's actually by the end of the year, I'm paying about 60% to live of my full wages, of my yearly wages. And I've got 40% left over to live off of for extra stuff that needs to happen in my household. And I use almost every bit of that. I don't save very much on these last few years.
Yeah, the prices of things haven't gone down, have they, either? To add to that, please continue.
No, my paycheck has, though, because they just keep taking more and more out of it.
Well, that's another reason, I think it's upsetting my wife of how much I've been working over the last few months. But
I wonder how much, I wonder if we could calculate how much, how much our salaries have gone down based upon the COLA. Because if you basically stayed flat, or maybe you got 3% over the last 4 years, what's the increase in cost versus your increase in salary? I mean, it just seems like, we're making way less than we were.
It's enough to wake Americans up to vote for Trump, that's how much people felt the pain and are still feeling it now. But I
can't
be
imagine.
Hopeful, I think.
I can't imagine what everybody's thinking, because I'm in the union. So every so many years we renegotiate, and I got a $6 raise this last year, and $6 an hour. And, and I still find it, I can cut a lot out and probably save more, but I, being used to kind of having a certain lifestyle. I haven't been on vacation. I don't make enough to take a vacation. I have enough to manage the household, save a little bit for emergencies, and end up using that for an emergency or something. The car breaks down, whatever, yada, yada. But I can't imagine people that aren't in my position and hold a job like me and that stays busy pretty much 11 months out of the year. I can't imagine. And I can't imagine, and it hurts my heart to even think about it. But I think this next year, which is going to be less than probably a third of the year, we may be hopefully seeing something come back after a hard reset.
Well, I think it's going to be more pain before it gets better. I really do. I think that we're going to have to make some sacrifices. I know that, probably about a year ago, Patrick, one of his things was to talk about, what are you willing to give up, right? What are you willing to, pitch over or, give up for the country? Because it's gonna come down to that. We're gonna have to save ourselves.
But with the drill baby drill, and if we open up, get rid of some of the red tape,
right? But it's gonna take time to build that infrastructure.
Yeah, well, the economy can get amped up pretty quickly. This is America. We are resilient, so we open up the free market and let the free market be free, and we start ramping up, like production of things, start opening up companies, allow people to start, doing business and manufacturing here in the U.S. Like somebody posted a video of a KitchenAid, and it reminded me of my KitchenAid that I have in my kitchen, which is from the 80s. And that thing is solid and still works. Like, it is perfect. Nothing wrong with it. And that's what made in America means. That's why people in foreign countries wanted made in America products over some cheap Chinese bullshit. And excuse my French, but that's the real deal of it. And it's cheap, but it's going to break in a week. When you buy something American, it's going to last. It's built strong. It's built with ingenuity. That's what making America great again means. Like that, we need to get back to that and open up jobs and let people work. People can make a wage, balance the economy, bring it, don't tax them to hell. Collect it. He's talking about getting rid of the income tax. Sounds like what the founders intended. Free people.
Stop buying cheap shit from China and Walmart and buy good American products.
Yeah, but we need the money.
Guys, I got a blast. I love you guys. Thanks for having me up. I appreciate it, Adam.
Let's make this country great
appreciate
again,
it,
brother. I'm with you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Kimmy. Conservative, appreciate it, man. Just try to slow down, sir. You guys have a great evening.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a great evening. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this here soon. Adam, do you want to play a little bit more of that, and then we'll?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm back upstairs.
All right.
I'm ready to go.
Go for it.
Mr. President, more than 140 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd, and the crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun, okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? They know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice, It's the Department of Injustice. It's being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, I mean, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them, come in anytime you want. You can see anything. They raided the house and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that. And I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things too. The FBI has gone so, its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again. Because all they did was attack me because I'm their political opponent. And that includes with local judges like Marchand. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the president of the United States and I'm not allowed to speak. Why? Because if I did speak, people would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for their case. He actually valued that chandelier is worth more than $18 million. He valued this house as $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, most vicious, vile person. These are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that. Please.
Back on Greenland. Your position is clear. But have you directed your staff to take specific actions to drop plans? And can you elaborate again? You did rule out military coercion.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level. No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism, a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate? For
you mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative things about a couple of people that are running for office, but that's not so unusual. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you about Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet with Putin to discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate because, you know, every day people are being, many, many young people are being killed, soldiers. You know, the land is very flat. And hundreds of thousands of soldiers from each, many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead. And they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland. And it's very, very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets. I hope so, yeah. I hope to have 6 months. No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine. and it should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened. I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who would you like to nominate to replace Michael Barr as vice chair?
I'll be announcing somebody soon.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about Canada being the state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstances,
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't. Listen, I don't care what he says.
Mr. Lopez, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion still. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We get a lot of milk. We get a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever. And it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either. Brian, go ahead.
Yes. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you.
You have some breaking news. You may not be aware of this. It looks like Canon has blocked the DOJ from releasing the Smith's report until further court proceedings. Get your thoughts on that.
Wow, that's a big story.
Yeah.
So if I get it right, the fake witch hunt started by the DOJ having to do with books and records, and Biden had many more, and he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act. I was. But all of that fake stuff that took the lives of people, I mean, literally destroyed people. People are destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden did it for 40 years. He did it when he was a senator. That was illegal. And they ruled it was illegal. How about that? They said, It's illegal, but he's unfit to stand trial. So he can stand and be president of the United States, but the prosecutor found that he's unfit for trial. I was going to use that as a major talking point, but I never got to use it because all of a sudden I had a new candidate who was also sort of unfit to stand trial, right? But so what you're saying is that the judge just blocked the, so Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. So this is deranged Jack Smith. So he dropped the lawsuits. He was told to by the DOJ because they had no lawsuit. They lost in court in front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost in court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him. In disgrace. Because he failed so badly. Because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying is I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it should be. Because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news.
Yeah.
Good.
And if I can just follow real quickly, you want to comment, many Americans are angry that we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban. Do you anticipate?
It's not even believable. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions. We pay billions of dollars to essentially the Taliban, Afghanistan. And that's given by Biden. That's the same man that took away $50 to $60 trillion worth of value from the United States. They could probably our most valuable asset. Took away our most valuable asset. This can't be allowed to happen. We are now a nation of common sense. When he does that, 625 million acres, this can't be allowed to happen. Thank you for the information. Most other people probably knew about it, but they wouldn't have told me, right?
On the campaign trail, you vowed to bring down the prices at grocery stores very fast.
Yeah, we will do it
You
fast.
recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
It's always hard to bring down prices when somebody else has screwed something up like they did, but we'll bring them down. We'll get them down. Energy is going to bring down prices. We're going to have a lot of energy, and energy is what brought it up. Energy and their bad spending is what brought it up, and energy is going to bring it down. We're going to have prices down. I think you're going to see some pretty drastic price reductions. As an example, food, bacon, ham, apples, everything has gone through the roof. It's one of the reasons I won. So as you know, I said it, inflation was one of the reasons I won, but I think the biggest reason I won was the fact that they are allowing prisoners to come into our country. They released their prisoners, their murderers. Thousands of murderers are now walking around the streets of our cities and farmland all over. Murders, people that have killed. Many, 32% have killed more than one person. They released them from their jails, their prisons, and their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. I believe that's the reason we got such a large vote. All right, maybe one or two more questions. Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead, you go. You have it.
Can you, President Carter is laying in state today in Washington. You had some harsh words for him about the Panama Canal. Is there any disconnect there? Do you feel a little bit bad about doing that on the state?
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election. That and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But again, this was a question that was asked of me. I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal because of Jimmy Carter's death. But people don't bring it up. But, you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place. But just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito? They were dying. It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States, but they knew they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 30th, and then we gave it away for $1.
Agenda through Congress, sir. Without getting your agenda through Congress, you appeared to open the door in your radio interview yesterday for two bill approaches. It's still your preference for one big, beautiful bill, as you said.
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will. But if two is more certain, it does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. Now, you have to understand, for immigration and for the wall, we won the case on the wall. You know, they tried to sell the wall for 5 cents on the dollar, by the way. And we had, fortunately, a judge that stopped that. But they were already discarding the wall. And 5 cents on the dollar. And you know what they were doing? They were calling us up and saying, we'll sell it back to you at 200 cents. In other words, double what we paid for it. So they were going to buy it from this guy for 5 cents on the dollar. They were making deals. And fortunately, we had a very smart judge that stopped it cold. I think he called for an investigation too, and he should. But think of it. They were selling the wall. That was exactly the wall that the Border Patrol wanted. That was designed by them. Steel, concrete, rebar. Exactly as they want. Very, very heavy steel, very powerful steel, hard to cut. Very, very heavy 7,000-pound concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Everything was top of the line. Very expensive. Would be double what we paid for it then, 6 years ago. But let me just tell you, they were selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people. And those people were calling us, asking us to pay them 200 cents because it's a good deal because we can have it immediately. And you know what immediately is? Just leave it in place. No. The papers haven't written that, though. You know, that deal is like all the other things that these people do. These people either hate our country or they're very stupid. And I don't believe they're stupid because nobody can cheat on elections like they cheat and be stupid. They either hate our country or they're stupid. So remember what I said, because nobody wants to report it. They were selling the wall for 5 cents on the dollar and trying to resell it back to us for 200 cents or less, but for 200 cents on the dollar. That's a nice return.
Post on its website.
Say it.
Meta said they were operating fact checks on its website and still allow community.
Well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
The last time you were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said, I don't talk about it.
Right. Military that's understandable, but it is a legitimate question.
Well, it's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead. Brian.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to the leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
They are. They're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be hopefully a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate, I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first. And the question is whether or not we do the two bills or one bill. And, you know, look, I can live either way. I like the idea of the one big bill, but I can live either way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now, this is the winter season. You know, they sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Meriwether the Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got a lot of credit for saving it. Most of these big, great houses have been knocked down in Palm Beach, just about all of them, actually. And they, you know, you build 10 mansions on one site, but we saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House, and she gave it to the government. And by the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that.
Real quick, I was just told.
Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once. and he thought it was incredible. But he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
President, on reconciliation, some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that? And
Well, I'm okay with spending. I like spending cuts. Just, I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing, but that was put into our lap and it shouldn't have been, but it was. And so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
How much can you do by executive order? Are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration? And how much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one,
well, I had the safest
order
border in the history of our country by far. You remember the famous chart that I brought down. I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border by far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse. What I got elected because of the border the first time, and I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say this was too big to rig. You know the expression, too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So very simple. I went to the military. I said, our country is being invaded by very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't releasing mental institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our country is being invaded. And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they start going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar. What a second. So we'll do this again. I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. This is the golden age of America. We're going to have a great country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian prime minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in and flew out. She wanted to see me. And great respect is being shown when I went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by the prime minister, the president, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages for Israel and for us. You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love it that he left it on that.
Right? He's such a badass.
All right, guys.
So happy, yo. Like, yeah, we got some tough. Like, honestly, like with what he reassured, what I was saying a bit there. Like, you know, we're gonna drill, baby, drill, like he was saying, and we should be okay. And he did make sense with the debt ceiling because he just wanted to make sure that we didn't default with whatever is already in play and rolling. So he's gonna have to roll back some of that stuff. He just didn't want to hit the default. So, what a great speech. Like as far as the Q&A, what we heard, I definitely enjoyed it. He was based. He was on point. He put some of them in check. He's like, what a stupid question you would ask. Like, I'm supposed to answer that. You think I'm...
That's the thing. It's like you guys, I cannot believe the level of hate and vitriol that the press corps has for Donald Trump. It's like, this guy gives you everything you want. He tells you more than Biden. He spoke more tonight than Biden spoke in freaking a whole year.
4 years, for God's sake. They kept him in a basement, but my God, I'm very optimistic, especially after this, we're coming back, making America great again,
But we're just gonna have to play clips of him like every day just to keep us on track.
Yeah.
Because he can't do it alone. We got to do it with him. So you guys make sure you're getting involved. If you haven't already, please subscribe to American Mission. If you don't want to subscribe for $2 a month, you can always go up and use the tip jar. It's always much appreciated. We are all volunteers, and we are going to be helping you get involved. So help us help you.
Yeah, definitely get out there. Mr. Philby was telling me in some states, it's only an hour a month that you have to go for your precinct committeeman meeting. So, like an hour a month really isn't much to ask to save your country, so if you're able to, you're an able-bodied person and, go get involved, this is the important stuff. We got 200,000 empty precinct GOP seats that could be filled by you, a real American that loves this country, and start weeding out some of the other bad people from your local GOP if you need to. Start, get together with your neighbors, grab a few neighbors and say, hey, you want to go do this with me? Let's go do it. Let's take our country back. And that's how it really is like get friendly with a couple of neighbors that, are Trump supporters and are America first. And then go to your precinct meeting with them together. And, hey, we live here, we represent, and we want to be represented properly. And you get your seat. There's empty seats everywhere, and you could be the local government. You know what I mean? That you're that arm of the GOP there that will make sure that the voters go out and put the right people in place.
I liked it because when I went to my first, few meetings with my mom, you're there, you're discussing the same types of things that we're discussing here, but you're with people and it's about issues in your own county, and so that you forget sort of how much you have in common with the people that you live around. Because we have been so, separated and divided and all that kind of stuff. So it really does help to go to those meetings. You get access to the county commissioners and the sheriff, and you get to write referendums. And it's very empowering, and it does help a lot with the anxiety that we're all feeling as we approach January 20th. That's really where we're going to make a difference is we have to do our part locally. President Trump's going to do his part nationally, and hopefully our stupid congressmen are going to do their part. If not, they're going to get fired. But we've got to step up and step into these spots.
Hey,
and
Kim,
do it now.
Kim, I was thinking earlier, somebody said something about Democrats or something along that line. And I was thinking about the ones that came over and voted for Trump. We could, Trumpocrat. You could go for that label. I came up with that word.
I love it.
I don't know if I came up with it. I'm the first one to say it, but I was like, you could be a Trumpocrat if you want. And I
think that we need those people to go over and get involved in the Democrat Party and take that over. If you are a Democrat, you kind of just came over to vote for Trump. Great, thank you very much. Totally would be fine with them going and fixing the Democrat Party too, because we need two healthy parties. I mean, that's the system that we have, and it is a good system when both parties are healthy. But we just stopped paying attention, and therefore the Democrats were able to
for the people
infiltrate
that
everything.
are not with that that kind of, the thing is we're not a democracy. We're not intended to be a democracy. So like, as far as Democrats and democracy, that's why I say like, oh, he's a threat to democracy.
We have a
damn right
he is, and so am I. We have
I don't want
we have a
mob rule.
democratic process. That's what it is.
We have an electoral college for a reason, because we're not a democracy. That's on purpose. So it's just they try to keep feeding that word, and like, hey, nothing wrong with being America first, and being
Oh, Christopher,
for
glad
the
you
country.
joined us again.
Forget the Democrat Party. It's dumb.
I had to go to our regularly scheduled meeting.
What, the board meeting?
Yes.
I mean, I didn't schedule that.
Craig and I voted everybody out. So
Okay, good.
Nabbit.
Perfect. That means I don't have to friggin' chill anymore. I'm great.
Yeah,
No more mod of the day. Oh man. Which I failed at tremendously today.
But seriously, I'm reading some of these comments about this Getty Museum, and I'm starting to think that there are people in California who are either extremely sarcastic or believe that this is Armageddon going on out there. The
Gettys are.
I was gonna say, but I didn't want to say.
Yeah, they think that all these fires is evidence that of the cover up of the tunnels.
Oh, 100%. Really? That's a good conspiracy night.
That did cross my mind as a conspiracy, but I didn't
I thought of it too. It was like the first thing I thought of.
People are actively saying that.
When somebody said Getty, and I was like, Getty, I know Getty.
Well, I mean, let me read you some of these comments, because
please do.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
So let's see. This is. Let me get back up here to the top. In the book of Revelation, fire is often used symbolically to describe God's judgment, purification, and destruction. Here are several verses that reference fire and burning in the context of judgment and destruction. 1 Revelation 8:7. Let's see. That place is huge, and there is a massive tunnel system under the complex museum.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. So Allie Carter just said there were tunnels there where.
Do these people realize that fire
where they're doing dirty kid stuff?
Like the tunnel's still gonna be there. Like fire is not gonna take it down. So that's a ridiculous theory.
Yeah. So Allie Carter just said that there were tunnels there where they're doing dirty kid stuff, and now there's a fire on top of it. Let me guess, after the fires are out, there will be bulldozers completely remodeling the place, no more tunnels, and no more evidence of the kid stuff. And that goes on.
Oh, okay. So she disputed what I.
I mean, think about it. They could dump concrete into those holes,
concrete. Yeah.
Isn't there what some people referred to as a gate to hell in the Getty Center? Yeah. I realized that the Getty Villa is a satellite branch, but it was suggested that there are underground tunnels and structures throughout the area linked to the Getty campus, and it burns. Oh, irony.
So when the Pope opened up the 5th door, the gate to hell opened in California and set the fire out? Is that
Wait, did he open up the 5th door?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm throwing shit together.
So not to be that person, but apparently there's a great deal of conspiracy theories about the Getty complex, especially involving its basement.
Well, Allie Carter was out there talking about the tunnels the other day. She said that you get lost, you have to have somebody with you because there's like 55,000 miles of tunnels and stuff underneath LA.
From Disneyland and to the hills, what I heard in the past,
I feel like a
tunnels,
lot of pedos network people called in the dues, meaning Jews, so that they can get big insurance paydays and flee the country, devastating innocents along the way. Well, there's always one guy.
There's always someone that's going to blame the Jews, right?
Yeah. I wonder if the tunnels underneath that optimize child trafficking are also burning.
Wow, people are really on it now. That's
yeah.
How about a good theory? Possibly, Antifa set some fires because that's what they do, and then they want to blame global cooling or something. I don't know. It's just it's got to be arson of some sort, or maybe bad management. And somebody maybe some bums lighting a fire to keep warm in the woods, and then all of a sudden it picked up and that's what happened. You got all people on all sorts of drugs out there and don't know what the hell they're doing, and a fire kicks up. They're not managing it properly. And they're trying to keep warm. So it could be just as simple as that.
Well, here's a positive note, Adam. Let's hope all the tunnels underground are being destroyed after rescuing the children.
Good Lord.
Here's burning those child trafficking / satanic sacrifice tunnels that are under that hellhole building.
Are these all on Allie Carter's page?
No, this is under a post that is it's under hustle bitch is the I don't know.
Hustle bitch?
Yeah. Breaking. Getty Villa goes up
Chris?
in flames. And it's video of this museum burning.
Will you put it down in the chat or up in the nest?
I can put it down in the chat. I can't.
Wait, no, yes, you can. So go to the copy thing, the share, the little half square and the arrow that's pointing up. And click on that, and then go all the way to the top, and you'll see the name.
Half square and the arrow.
Yeah, the share button. When you click on the post, you know how you can share it.
It's a little U with the up arrow in the middle of it.
Okay.
And then you at the top, it will have the name of the room. Click on that.
Uh-huh. Okay, I did.
There you go. Now it's up in the nest.
Just like that. It's magic. So, yeah. My God, man. It's quite some theories.
Yeah, I mean, this has got like.
So is that what you and Craig were over in the meeting talking about?
This has got 68,000 views.
Of course, you and Craig are over there talking about the tunnels.
Well, Craig is a Jew, right?
I know.
Yeah, he was digging the tunnels, right?
He knows all.
If there's space lasers and tunnels involved, Craig is right there.
He's got the inside.
Yeah, he's got. He said he's got the spaceship like Spaceballs, with the Star of David ship, and it's got the space lasers fully equipped, ready to go.
Man, that thing is burning down big time.
Free speech rules. Check the underground tunnels under a huge child trafficking area. I mean, these people are just not holding back. They're just, going.
Yeah, they have ripped off the Band-Aid and they are going to town, which is great. Let them go.
Wasn't this the place that was known to have underground tunnels with unspeakable horrors happening there? If so, God surely is cleaning house.
Got your smiting, Chris.
There's Craig. You bring your space lasers with you?
Well, that's how
On stage?
That's how I build the tunnels.
Ah. I thought it was diamond edge, like, drilling devices, but
No,
I guess
space lasers.
space lasers. Makes more sense.
Much
I
easier.
co-hosted you, Craig, because you got to be co-host to talk about space lasers and tunnels.
Okay. Let's see. How did I hit the button? It didn't do anything. Oh, there it goes.
Stick to your secretary.
So
if you didn't catch that reference, that's Blazing Saddles.
You guys, this is what happens in our meetings. This is the conversation. This is basically what happens.
The
I have to I have to rein them back in.
The satanic pedo cult evidence isn't going to destroy itself.
Oh, isn't it kind of interesting? P. Diddy is a pedo.
Oh my God.
So glad we co-hosted you.
I hope they can save the children under the Getty Museum.
Oh, there's 300,000